Oh, let's see if my go ahead.
We're live.
Hello.
Well, there we go.
Chat, hi, chat. What's going on, everybody who's here? Oh, I hear my echo.
Maybe I'll use this avatar because we're talking about cinema, cinema, and it's very Terminator 2. Yeah.
Oh, I like it. Yeah, we're talking about movies today. Well,
we're talking about a lot of movies today. Yeah.
Well, today, I wasn't actually going to do a stream this week because I have a big one coming up Monday, but this is kind of like an interesting kind of a topic that normally I just wouldn't really talk about, which is like box office stuff, because it's actually, there's kind of a lot going on right now. It's kind of a weird thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of important to discuss. I don't normally care, but it, like legit, there's just so much happening. Hi, Josh. Hi, Words Paradise. What's up? Everybody smash the like button. That's true. That's very true. Smash tournaments. Hi, Josh, and Sketch and Stephen Ransom. What's up, Stephen? And Solid Redfield has got a YouTube channel or a Rumble. I'm sorry, and a YouTube channel. Yeah, everybody supports smaller streamers.
Yeah,
absolutely. So just quickly, Monday, guys, I'm doing an interesting stream with an actor, SAG actor, I believe. And he's in the guild, and we're going to talk about two things. We're probably going to get to the topic of the strike and things like that, but just in general, Hollywood, where what he's kind of, from what I understand, kind of based. So I don't want to give too much away because I need to do some more research on the guy, but he has a project. He has a Kickstarter project that we're going to talk about too. That's kind of interesting, but that's Monday.
Can we know who he is now, or is it a secret?
I don't know if it's not really a secret. It's
or like, I mean,
he's not ready. It's not a you wouldn't know who he is, I don't think, and I'm not trying to insult the guy. But
anything that he's in?
Yeah, I think he was in The Office a few times.
Okay, well, that's pretty big.
Yeah, so he's done some work in Hollywood. That's what I said. I have to do more research into the guy. I just talked with him a couple times.
Just look at his IMDb and you can find out everything that he's in 2 minutes.
Yeah, and he, like I said, he has this cool Kickstarter. I don't even know his last name. I'll figure it out. But he has this cool Kickstarter project for an actual like TV series that he's pitching. But I will announce that way ahead of time, probably Saturday, Sunday, and then but other than that, chat, I'm going to Anime Matsuri in 2 weeks. That'll be fun. If anybody here is going, hit me up on Twitter and we'll have to hang out.
So my plan was to prioritize that to go next year, but actually tying into Oppenheimer, the guy who I saw Oppenheimer with, my childhood friend, not childhood, I guess, high school and army friend, Ryan, is getting married on August 10th. And I'm like, man, is that going to be the weekend of Anime Matsuri? I was like,
yeah, it is.
I have to go to the wedding. I can't. No, but I mean next year. Like, from now. So I'm like, I don't know. Because like that the weekend would line up, but I do kind of want to go to Matsuri, but I'd have to choose my friend's wedding.
Of course.
I would not be able to flake on that one.
That's true. I would do that too. You got your buddy. Got to support. So chat, I'm not on Twitter, but it would be cool to meet you briefly. Oh, classy.
Hey, classy.
Well, I mean, if you're there, if you're there at the panel, the YouTube panel, you'll see me for sure. I'll be dressed as Ken and probably Link from Legend of Zelda.
Okay, so I think there's a possibility the Classy Vigilante might be like, oh, you know what, I'm staying home. Because for those who don't know, Classy Vigilante does my edits. Like, so on my channel, the videos that get uploaded a few times. Hey, Drunk 3PO, how's it going? The videos that get uploaded a few times a week are edited by Classy Vigilante. And he's been having trouble rendering the videos at 60 FPS and 1080p. And then he sent me his specs, and I'm like, that's a problem.
Oh, no, yeah.
So here's the thing. I haven't been doing much with my editing rig lately because I've been mostly doing everything here, including video editing, which has been kind of an interesting experience doing that with the puppies. So I was like, okay, can I go a year without doing anything with this computer? And I ultimately decided, hey, the sacrifice I'm doing is yes. So I disassembled the computer and I shipped its innards to the United States. And on Monday or so, they will arrive, and Classy Vigilante will get a significant upgrade to his computer once he rebuilds that into
awesome.
His own little Frankenstein.
That's
yeah. So he might just be like, you know what? I'm just gonna play Cyberpunk at like full ray tracing.
Jay, if you're gonna be there, we'll have to. You can text me or whatever, and we'll hang out. I'll see you. I'll see you there. And yeah, it's gonna be fun. But this box office thing, I just wanted to say up front that I was looking at it today to making my thumbnail, and it's weird to me that Box Office Mojo is kind of, I don't know if they're accurate or behind or ahead, or I don't understand, but Barbie has apparently 550 million. It just hit worldwide.
So I use the numbers and not Box Office Mojo because I prefer the way the numbers is like laid out. It's listing worldwide box office at 452 million.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I heard it. There's many articles out there that says it hit 500 million today.
Well,
so maybe that's just accounting for the whole day.
The box office aggregates tend to be about a week behind. So most of the stuff you're looking at is usually like about 7 days behind when they tally it. They usually tally the numbers.
Yeah. Can you see this?
Yes.
What do the numbers mean, Mason?
So we got Barbie. Yeah, like I was just saying, like the ranking is correct. Barbie's way ahead of Mission Impossible, and then Oppenheimer is right on its tails.
Yes.
Kind of because of the fact that it came out way later. Like Mission Impossible has been around for a month or so.
Yeah, Mission Impossible is the worrying one, which we'll get into.
But just to go back, Guardians of the Galaxy, is it out of theaters now?
It's wrapping up. It's wrapping up. It is only in 125 theaters.
It's not crossing a billion. It has no more countries to open up in or anything like that.
No, worldwide it's at 837 million. But it is the most profitable one, though.
I mean, like it's like aside from No Way Home, which is a sort of a, I don't know, it's almost like a meme movie in a way. Like it's nice and I liked it, but I haven't had any desire to watch it since. I think Guardians 3 was definitely the best thing that's come from post Endgame Marvel.
Yeah. The reason I stopped using Box Office Mojo is that the problem with Box Office Mojo is to get some of the other features, you got to pay for IMDb Pro. And I said, fuck that, because all the stuff that they have, the numbers just has it for free.
Hey, baby.
So
I will say I watched Guardians again like last week or something with my brother on home, like rental. So I'm sure it's making a lot of money on rental, like on Amazon or on Xbox or wherever the rental shop you.
Is it not on Disney Plus?
Normally what happens is I think I'm right about this. Normally these Disney shows will come out on Amazon first or Xbox Marketplace or whatever, so you can pay like
to rent
$15 to rent it or something.
Oh, I guess you know what it is, that for me that comes up on iTunes, and I've always thought of iTunes as the place where you go to buy digital content as opposed to streaming it. But I guess that doesn't really apply now that Apple TV Plus exists. They're all the same. It's just so you can rent or stream.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, Apple Movies is helped out with not only Killers of the Flower Moon, but with the Napoleon biopic that's coming out this year as well.
Yeah, I saw the Killers of the Flower Moon trailer when I saw Oppenheimer, and one thing I was really interested to see is that it's premiering exclusively in theaters, even though it's Apple Plus produced.
I think the same thing is true with Napoleon, actually.
Who's making Napoleon? I've not heard of that.
Ridley Scott.
I thought Napoleon was a theatrical release, but
I don't know, man. It's been I have not seen The Last Duel, and I've heard that's good, but it's been a while. Sorry?
Sony Pictures.
Oh, I was just saying it's been a while since I've liked a Ridley Scott movie.
That's fair. It is Apple TV.
What are his last few movies? So, like, I'm trying to think of what the last one he made.
The Last Duel, The Martian,
Okay, The Martian was pretty good.
Yeah,
that
it's really good. Then he did Alien Covenant.
Did
Yeah.
all both like boo down to two thumbs down.
You got to go all the way down. The guy has
I
quite
hate all this
the
shit.
There was
he has quite the storied career.
So House of Gucci, I
House
hear
of
is
Gucci,
terrible.
that's right. Yeah.
I hear that was bad.
Wait,
you know, all the money in the world-
whoa! Stop!
What?
Pull. Does that fucking say Gladiator 2, or am I tripping?
Yeah.
That's been going around for a while. But Alien Covenant. Just before we get too far past it.
Yeah.
I gotta say, in a different film, the auto homoerotic stuff with Michael Fassbender and himself.
Yes.
Pretty interesting.
I
just it didn't really work in that movie at all.
I liked it.
Movie was crazy. Like I mean, those scenes were good. Like they were done well, but I just the movie as a whole was just kind of shitty.
I think it's way better than Prometheus.
I don't know. Don't get me wrong, Prometheus kind of sucks too, but I think Alien Covenant was worse, mostly because it totally kills Prometheus. They basically retcon their own reboot. They're like, oh yeah, maybe she's dead, and oh by the way, now David is the other one Michael? Isn't because the other one has a different name, right?
Yeah. Somebody said somebody asked me a question. What happened to my shirt and hair? I'm Ken. I don't know what else to say.
He's trying to be Ken-uff, okay?
I'm just Ken.
Musical number. Do it live now.
He's
Do it live.
All right.
Robin Hood is underrated. I don't like his Robin Hood.
Which one was his?
It's the Russell Crowe one. It's just
Didn't see it. Oh, I liked American Gangster.
Yeah, American Gangster's good.
Okay, that was good. But I mean that was 2007. That was all
this is good. The Counselor's good. The Martian is good.
Yeah, The Martian I think is probably granted I haven't seen The Last Duel.
I need to see The Last Duel. I haven't seen it.
Exodus.
Yeah.
Oh jeez. Oh my god, I forgot that existed until just now. That's funny.
Was that the Christian Bale, Joel Edgerton?
Yeah.
Well, I want to get back to this. I think what I was going to say. Well, look at Mario's way out ahead. This year is interesting because, like, you know, this is not going to hit $1 billion. This is not going to hit $1 billion. This is probably not going to hit $1 billion.
No,
nothing is except Mario, which is a video game adaptation. So
animated one.
Yeah, so it's very weird. This is a very odd year.
Well, Illumination has what I call like normie cred.
Yeah,
where like your normies just show up to watch an Illumination movie because Minions and Banana, and they don't really think about it more than that. They just say, "Oh, Minions, that's funny," and then they just go see it.
Yeah, but those movies
Super Mario Brothers is like it's an instantly recognizable brand.
Yes.
Yeah,
but you combine that with the Minions people is what I'm saying. You combine the very recognizable Mario brand with the Minions people. Of course, that's going to make money.
What's crazy to me though is that Super Mario Brothers crossed $1 billion, which means that crossing $1 billion in the theaters is definitely possible in this day and age. You can't be like, oh, it's COVID. That's the reason why no one wants to go to the theater. I can't believe Guardians of the Galaxy 3 didn't cross it. Because
we're going to get into that because I think it's very telling when you look at the Marvel box office for the year. It kind of snaps into focus. So let me pull up Guardians 3.
And also, yeah, Mario had that name brand, and then but Quantumania, all this Disney stuff is just underperforming, and
that's what the things I was going to bring up was Quantumania because
the fact that Mario is Italian. Okay, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We work for each other.
And Guardians
come out to the box office just like that. Japanese, very proud.
Guardians doubled Ant-Man. They're both the third movie in the trilogy. Part of that is because nobody gives a shit about Ant-Man, but another part of that is
it was terrible.
James Gunn, the word of mouth.
It was one of the worst films ever made.
Well,
no.
First of all, no, it's not one of the worst films ever made. You need to watch more movies.
Ant-Man Quantumania was pretty damn bad.
But
it's just a bad superhero movie. Yeah.
But it's not necessarily that people don't care about Ant-Man because when you look up
I went to the movie I still thought it was shit.
Yeah.
Okay, but here's the thing. So Thor: The Dark World is often considered like one of the worst, right?
I know
Of the MCU.
Like Thor: The Dark World is one of the ones where people go like, "Oh, that's not a good
Thor:
one."
The Dark World is probably in the at least the second top third.
I mean,
There's
It's in the bottom 5
in the
for me.
last year, man.
but
Oh wait, I haven't seen
movies Marvel has put out since.
Yeah, but I think I can't stand Black Panther, but I think it's better than Thor: The Dark World.
I don't know.
So what I was gonna do, what I'm bringing up though, and this is kind of the oh, they're the dogs. So what I was talking about in terms of Thor: The Dark World is this came back and this came out in 2013, right? So this was a very mediocre, and the answer is no, Andrew. Sorry. The movie was very mediocre. It didn't get very good reviews. It didn't get very good word of mouth, and it still made 644 million.
Am I adding this to the stream?
Yes. Contrast it with Ant-Man, right? So Ant-Man comes out, and this is worldwide. By the way, its goose is cooked. Because when you look at it, it's in basically no theaters. Like it's done. This is it. And when you look at its production budget, it's $200 million, right? So this movie, this lost money. There's no way. Because you factor in advertising, which is probably another 100 million. That was a $300 million picture, and then you have to cut this by like 40% because the theater take home, right?
Yeah.
So this movie probably lost anywhere from 50 to 80 million. I mean, this was not where you have Thor: The Dark World, where its production budget was 150 million. So not nearly as much. So it's probably 250 million. You take this, you cut it in half, give or take. It made a little bit of money. It didn't make a ton, but it made a little bit of money. So even with Thor: The Dark World, something that didn't get good word of mouth, something that didn't have the best traction, it still eked out a little bit of profit.
Okay.
Yeah.
The thing with Ant-Man is that it came in the middle of Phase 4, and Phase 4 is where Marvel said, "Oh, let's just make all the movies." And it went from a few movies a year to what was it, 4 or 5 last year? How many came out last year, and how many were coming out this year? Because you have like the Eternals, and you just had so many.
KJ, the amount of them doesn't matter. It was all just sludge. That's the point. But the bigger problem is that they decided, okay, let's grab a bunch of people who wrote an episode or two of Rick and Morty and get all of them to write a bunch of Phase 4 shit, both movies and TV shows, the same people often writing both of them, yet none of them are talking to each other. And they're not actually planning anything. They're just like, yeah, we're going to uplift new voices, which secretly means we're going to pay people next to nothing to write our movies that are definitely going to make $1 billion, because at this point we can do no wrong. The people love Marvel. It's the Marvel they come for. It's not anything else.
Well, that's the biggest problem, right? Because you have a lot of oversaturation.
Here's another problem.
I don't know. Oversaturation, I don't think would be a problem if it was all awesome. I disagree, man.
It depends.
If 3 times a year we got amazing Marvel movies that were always about different characters, and then maybe once every 3 years or so we got an Avengers or a team up movie, I don't think anyone would have any issue with it. The only problem with them putting out as much content as they have is that none of it, or very little of it, is any good at all, and almost none of it is incredible. Like Guardians of the Galaxy 3, I thought it was pretty good. I don't think it's amazing, though. I'm not like, oh man, see Guardians 3 again. Same with Spider-Man No Way Home. I was like, it was nice to see Toby again. Andrew Garfield, I thought, had his moment in that movie, but it's just
a big deal. This is another big problem. 200 million for that movie,
and budget.
250 million for.
I was gonna bring up Little Mermaid next, because Little Mermaid is not
250 million
doing
for
good.
Guardians 3.
Yeah,
so they're just essentially they're lighting money on fire.
Well, I mean, the problem is they were all shot in COVID shoots with strained VFX teams, which means if they needed to prioritize, the VFX companies could say, okay, well, we'd have to bump other projects. Like we could be breaking contracts, and
Yeah.
Disney tried to just pay them out because they're like, nope, everyone on Marvel, we're going to make $1 billion on every one of these projects, guaranteed. Don't worry about it. We made $1 billion on Captain Marvel. These people don't care. We
Yeah.
can put out anything.
Movie Cynic, buddy, $5. Thank you very much. I just did a little stream with him. Barbenheimer. Last
I didn't think about the overseas market take.
But
I
overseas-
always forget. I always
Yeah.
forget that.
Yeah, I did too when I got confused when for Avatar because of that too. But
Yeah.
overseas markets take a higher percentage of the tickets compared to
That's
domestic.
right. I
It's
always forget that because I was like,
can't remember
Ant-Man probably lost about 80 million, but yeah, you're right. The international market, oof, yeah, that
I don't remember
they
the
could have
breakdown.
potentially lost 200 million actually, really, when you if you
I
really
don't
think
know
about it.
enough about how that math
Yeah.
works to really comment
There's
at
a
all.
percentage
That could be
breakdown.
really bad now that I think
Yeah.
about it. That could be quite the bleeding.
That's
Well,
bad.
I remember people were like, Avatar needs to make 2.3 billion or whatever to break even, and I back then I did all the math. I exposed a bunch of people that didn't know they were talking about it. It turned out I said that it needs to make like 1.7 billion. Cameron said it needs to make 2 billion. Then he corrected himself and said like kind of what I said, which is like 1.6, and it turns out that it in fact was 1.6 billion. And you know, it's because of the overseas crap was an interfering in all everybody's calculations.
Yeah, maybe everybody forgets that.
Yeah.
but Little Mermaid, this is the big one. This is the big one because
Thank you, Cynic.
when you look at it weekly, like the numbers has it listed as a 71% drop, and that it's only playing in 620 theaters, and that it was taken out of almost 1,000 theaters this week, which means it's nearing the end of its life cycle, and it made less than 600 million. The thing
which one again? Which one is this?
Little Mermaid. It made less than 600 million. Like I said, its goose is cooked because when you look at it, 71% drop. It's only in 620 theaters now, and it was taken out of almost 1,000 this week. 995 theaters. And when you look at its production budget, it was $250 million.
Yeah,
That doesn't make any sense. Like what?
250 million with a potentially another 100 to 150 million advertising budget. This movie lost a ton of money.
Well, what I'm trying to say though is there any reality in which that wasn't going to happen with the Little Mermaid movie that they were making?
So here's the thing. I think that these live action remakes have really lost their luster because they just kept pumping them out and pumping them out and pumping them out. And I think it was
never had luster.
Oh my god, what are you talking about? Lion King had hit like.
I was gonna say
$1.5
before you say
billion.
that, hang on, because
I don't ever look at the numbers. Okay, I'm only kind of talking about what the numbers that you guys are putting in front of me now. I'm not going to make arguments about Lion King making a lot of money. I think it was a bad idea from.
Okay, yeah, the live action Beauty and the Beast remake made $1.2 billion in the worldwide box office. And here's the thing: its production budget. 160 million, not 250 million.
I quite like Beauty and the Beast. That was before these things had much context. I got through about 20 minutes of that movie and I was out.
Like, but it doesn't matter. Movies here to make money.
Yeah, Mark, they all suck. We know they're all bad. We know.
But the thing is, though, shit movies will not keep making money. They will, like, especially if you're doing them as a series. You can't just keep on pumping out shit. If people
Mark, I agree with you. But Mark, here's the thing. Mark,
hit $1 billion. That movie sucks ass. It's
but
probably
ultimately
the worst of the trilogy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, though. It's like
look at Multiverse of Madness.
Multiverse of Madness, I'm surprised it made as much as it. But here's the thing, Mark. Here's the thing.
That's come after Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah. But hang on, Mark. Mark. I am agreeing with you. What I was going to say is that they saw this number and said, "Oh shit, let's remake all of our animated movies live action." They saw that Beauty and the Beast made 1.2 billion, and they said, "Oh shit. let's
Pan
make
went
some money.
straight to Disney Plus.
But then they each made a little bit less and a little bit less. Lion King made over $1 billion, but I don't believe any of the other ones made over $1 billion. I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think any of them made over $1 billion after that. I think Lion King was the last one.
Yeah,
because the luster wore off, the gimmick wore off. People got sick of them, and Disney just kept making them, and they just kept making less and less.
Disney's been doing everything they own.
Yeah,
but that's the thing. Disney's been doing with everything they own. Yeah.
So the big news is Barbenheimer and even Mission Impossible are beating Disney at their own game.
Yeah,
not really. Not at their own game. Barbenheimer is 2 films that are completely original. And you want to say, oh, it's based on something. Like, fuck off. If we got to use words that everybody uses it the same way. Okay.
Yeah.
When I say original, it's an original movie. Okay. Yeah. It's not a reboot. It's not a remake. It's not a sequel. Okay. Yeah. Barbie's an original film, and it's also original in structure and sort of design too. It has its own, homages to other films like 2001, but
that was the one where I was like, okay, Greta Gerwig understands. Like, only Greta Gerwig would be the kind of female director to be like, I'm gonna put a 2001: A Space Odyssey reference in a doll movie.
Yeah,
that's just great.
but this is like fresh and exciting for people, whether you liked it or not. People think it's exciting and fresh and funny and new and interesting, and the memes are like clever, and so this is just crushing. Like, what is going on here? Look at the domestic.
Yeah. I've not seen Barbie. What did you guys think of it?
I didn't see it.
I thought it was like slightly better than mid.
Yeah, that's kind of the general thing that I've been getting from a lot of people. Spoiler free, is that it has a fairly standard kind of like love yourself, everybody, kind of message, and everyone go, that's fine, and then just kind of went, okay, cool, and then just left.
Well, not having seen it, I was watching EVS on Aiden's stream, and he made some pretty compelling arguments for it. I was like, oh, this movie actually sounds like it could be kind of interesting. I'm not gonna go out and pay to see it, but maybe I'll catch it when it's on.
Yeah.
If it ends up on a streaming service that I don't have to then pay more money for, I'll watch it.
But it's resonating with people. A lot of women are seeing it.
So Lofty, don't bring up my screen. I want you to guess the production budget of Barbie. Don't bring up my screen because
I already know it.
Oh, what is it?
It's 140.
It is not.
Oh, 130? 120? Something like
that.
It's
100 million.
Oh, okay. I thought it was
100 million is the production budget. And what was the Little Mermaids?
250 or some shit.
250. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, and another $100 million budget movie is Oppenheimer.
That is correct. Both of them have $100 million production budgets.
Apparently,
and both of them are pretty much almost already in the green at this point. Barbie is.
Apparently, Mattel's thinking about making a whole bunch of other movies based on the property.
And we're going to get into that because I was going to talk about how studios are learning the wrong lesson for this. But
KJ, you got to let me finish sentences. Dude. I'm sorry. I cannot say anything without you stepping on me. But anyways, X-Ray Girl and Tugs were talking on Poor Choices, their show on Wednesday, about, I don't know if they read this somewhere, or if they just came up with it, but that would be really funny if they did a G.I. Joe movie where Ryan Gosling's Ken joins the military and the G.I. Joe teach him how to be a man. And I was just like, I'd watch that. I didn't even see Barbie, but I'd go see that.
Yeah.
I was like, you told me with that idea. And I was like, man. So is G.I. Joe on that list? It's not.
No. It's G.I. Joe's a different company, though. It's not Mattel, right?
Isn't it? No, I think it is.
I could be.
Pretty sure it is. Like, or is it Hasbro?
Oh, Movie Cynic says he was at the theater Monday and yesterday and was packed.
I always thought of G.I. Joe as the male equivalent to Barbie.
That's how I see it. I think He-Man is Mattel.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
I can't remember what G.I. Joe. Oh, but look, we got a member. Marsupial member.
Gamer.
Hello. Good day,
Marsupial. I appreciate it. Pixel Punk.
So which studio is going to start the something movie trend?
Well,
because I have a feeling that because already Mattel is taking the wrong lesson away from this. They saw Barbie and thought, oh well, people just want like more toy movies.
So they were like, we don't want the MCU, and then Barbie gets popular, and they were like, now we want the Mattel MCU.
Yeah, we want the Mattel Cinematic Universe. Like that's the wrong takeaway. The correct takeaway is if you're going to make a movie based on an IP, you get someone with a vision to make it so they can put their own personal fingerprints on it to make it more unique.
Yeah, to be fair, they got Greta Gerwig to make Barbie. Like, I mean, if they keep doing shit like that and just give it to director and be like, yeah, do something crazy and weird, whatever. Yeah. Make it PG-13 enough. You know?
Members get emojis, by the way. Membership, if you get special emojis. I have 4 really good ones.
Because it's just like, okay, so how do you make a movie based on Uno?
Well, you probably
look. Barney is Daniel Kaluuya, and he says it's going to be sort of an adult themed movie. I'm thinking maybe horror. That could be big. Barney? I don't know. It's hard to say.
Barney is a horror movie with Daniel Kaluuya.
Yeah, I don't know. He worked with Jordan Peele. He's got a very, he's a pretty clever actor.
I mean, like Barney.
Yeah, I know. Well, I didn't expect Barbie to be a creative movie.
And like,
I don't know. I'm not ruling it out because like Barbie freaked me out because of how like it's not the best movie, but it sort of blew me away with its like sophisticated cinematic style.
It's strong visuals
and messaging
and stuff. Yeah,
the messaging was definitely preachy, but it was still like, it's got some cool parallels to like weird like it's hard to say, but Thomas the Tank Engine. I don't know what the hell that's going to be. I don't know what. I don't know what Uno is going to be.
Yeah, like I thought like maybe Uno would be like a House of Games, but with Uno. Have you ever seen House of Games?
Oh no. Wait, Uno's actually
it's the David Mamet play about like poker.
Yeah, Uno's right here.
Yeah, Uno. Yeah. Is Magic 8 Ball going to be like a Ouija board, like a horror movie, like the Magic 8 Ball saying 7 days?
It's probably going to be a horror movie. But if we're going back to look, I think I just wanted to make a statement here. I think people are thirsty for these kinds of movies. Big, interesting
prestige dramas.
And Oppenheimer is a Nolan thing, yes, and his movies make a lot of money, yes. But that's a good thing, and we should be talking about it because Hollywood doesn't fund a lot of movies like this. There's more people besides Christopher Nolan who can make a movie like Oppenheimer. Like I know Ridley Scott is coming out with a movie. And then Barbie is I'm excited because we have all these. This is a big year for original movies. It's not just these two. It's Killers of the Flower Moon. It's Napoleon. It's the Creator, that sci-fi movie from what's his face, Gareth Edwards.
Yeah. What do you think the production budget of that one was?
I don't know.
Just take a guess.
I don't know. 100 million.
I want to make sure I'm right because I'm pretty sure it's low. Hang on. Where's the
he made
80 Monster.
Oh, why is it not showing it? What the heck? I thought, hang on, because I thought it was 80 million or something crazy.
86 million.
Yeah.
So this is an interesting thing because Hollywood, Hollywood actually is, they're failing miserably at a lot of things, but they're, the fact that a movie like this can get funding, an original science fiction story, is like we haven't seen that in a long time. Like everyone's all about IPs now. And this is not an IP.
Well, I mean, it being Gareth Edwards and Chris Weitz probably had a lot to do with it. Like they said, hey, give us 80 million and we'll make something that kind of looks like Star Wars and is by the people who Rogue One. So.
Rogue One, Godzilla. Don't you want more movies like this? I do. I want original movies, sci-fi movies.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be ideal. Lower the budgets and force people to get more creative. Yes.
Yeah. I want what's 86 times 4 is 300 million. I want 4 of these and not one Indiana Jones.
Right. Which speaking of, oh boy.
It's so stupid.
Talk about probably one of the biggest bombs of the decade potentially.
Oh yeah, let's
is Dial of Destiny. I have it on my screen right now because Dial of Destiny production budget $300 million. That is
Oh,
insane. Probably another 150 million, maybe even 200 million marketing. I mean, this movie could lose like 400 million potentially. I mean,
obvious.
it's
Yes. Andrew Mathis with the $5 super chat. Thomas the Tank Engine will be a remake of Train to Busan.
Yeah, I'm in. Like Train to Busan.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like
that's good.
like Train to Busan, except the train is sentient and it's helping them get to Busan or something.
Thomas the Tank Engine to Busan.
No.
It like takes them off road and like
How they keep the 2001 references theme going, and it's like,
yeah.
my name is Thomas, Dave. You
Yeah.
must reach the front of the end.
So like Barbie's doing quite well. Oppenheimer is also probably going to make a profit. The other one that's been a surprise this year is Sound of Freedom.
Sound of Freedom.
Yeah.
Which so far domestic box office is 136 million. Now there have been some people that have gone into theaters that are almost full and there's only like 10 people in there. But the ultimate thing is, again, movies are here to make money. So it doesn't matter if some of those people bought 3-4 tickets for themselves.
Yeah.
That's still money in the studio's pocket. So ultimately, it doesn't matter how many people maybe bought extra tickets to support the movie because that's still cash.
Yeah.
And that's just
Sort of, because it depends on that. For that movie, yes, but not for like a bit like a Marvel movie.
Why not?
Money's money. I mean,
because Marvel.
No, like if movie money making, if the model shifted so that it was almost more of a pay what you want, like a base price for the ticket price, but it was almost like tipping. Like, hey, if you like this movie, maybe throw another $5 in on your way out.
Yeah,
but nobody's going to tip Disney or any of these productions. The only reason they're tipping Angel Studios is because of the human trafficking.
Absolutely, you've got Star Wars and Marvel simps that will throw an extra $5 on the way out of the theater.
Isn't there that guy? Isn't there some guy who went to go see Captain Marvel like 50 times in the theater or something? Right? Wasn't that a thing? I remember that story.
Like that. I'm saying though that like the way things like the people who we know who make creative products like Eric and stuff like that, they're essentially entirely based on directly from the consumer who wants to support this. And that's why Eric will sell a lot of things like alternate covers and posters and like baseball cards kind of thing, or trading cards. And I think that it'd be interesting for Hollywood to be like, okay, well, we're going to keep our budgets low, but if you want us to start doing crazier shit, maybe buy 2 or 3 tickets if you really like this movie, or on the way out of the theater, tip us,
I mean, well, that's fair. I'm just trying to say that it's perfectly valid. It's not fraudulent. It's not illegal or anything. So like some of these, because I know some people were like, oh, well, they're just inflating the box office. And I'm like, okay, but like they're allowed to do that if they want to.
Yeah, but
like,
if
like Angel Studios, but here's the thing, Angel Studios is not telling people. Angel Studios is not telling people inflate the box office, right? Like
no, they're doing their business model. That's all they're doing. Yeah, I'm saying if Little Mermaid did that, I would make fun of it. I'd be like, haha, you don't have enough fans, you need to inflate your budget. Angel Studios is doing it because that's their business model. It has been since way before Sound of Freedom.
Yeah,
that's how they fund their entire streaming service.
Well, and also, I mean, like again, and going back to what I said about the guy who went to go see Captain Marvel in the theater like 50 times, like he is allowed to do that. If he wants to spend his money doing that, he is allowed to do that. It's not illegal. It's not fraudulent. And you could be like, oh, well, he's just inflating the blah, blah, blah. And it's like, hey, you know what? It's his money. He can spend it how he wants.
Yeah,
it's what it is.
I'm just saying, big budget movies like tentpole movies need fans. They need fans more than they need money. I mean, the companies want money, but like it's way better if you have a rabid fan base. Like a Christopher Nolan has so much. That's you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, because it's what merch is. But I think now merchandise sales are not what they were. Like you're not going to be selling toys of the most obscure Star Wars characters anymore in great numbers and having rare ones and stuff. You might have a few that sell well every once in a while, like the Mandalorian one that did. But I think that model of, hey, if these people like this property or this movie, they'll go out and spend extra money. I think it's kind of got to change to something more modern.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, maybe that's a possibility.
But honestly,
this guy says
it's just lower budgets, more
lower budgets is
I think you'll make more money as a result. I'm not just be more creative. It's
and you can get a lower budget if you're a respected director, right? So like Christopher Nolan, 100 million. I mean, Asteroid City was probably what? I mean, Asteroid City probably had a budget of, what was it, like 10 million or something?
Cheap.
And I mean, and look at the cast he got. I mean, he got an insane cast for that movie.
But it only made that much. I want to say the Words of Paradise, the prestige. What prestige directors are still left besides Nolan? Tarantino's done after one more. Scott doesn't have the recognition. I would say, look, as Scorsese's got a couple in the tank. David Fincher has a big movie coming out this year called The Killer. You have Aronofsky still in the game. Prestige directors?
Is he a prestige
Paul
director?
Thomas Anderson is still making movies. I don't know what the prestige. I guess prestige.
Because that's what I was going to say. Is it depends on what you mean by prestige, I guess. Because like I would consider Aronofsky to be an art house kind of guy, like a Wes Anderson.
Sure.
Like they're in a different kind of area.
Yeah. I mean, if you're talking, Villeneuve is pretty.
Denis Villeneuve is definitely like a more prestige guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Spielberg's still making films. The better thing that I'm excited for is like the younger voices that are coming into it, like Jordan Peele, Luca Guadagnino, Ari Aster, Robert Eggers, Jonathan Glazer. Like all of these young, creative, visionary directors are going to be the next Paul Thomas, or prestige directors, or sort of art house prestige combinations.
Oh, he clarified. Thank you, Words of Paradise. Prestige director. Okay. Well, if that's the case, then Aronofsky and Wes Anderson are not. Not really prestige directors. I mean, you could argue that at this point, Scorsese and Ridley Scott are not, because they had to get Apple money.
TV.
So,
Guillermo del Toro has to ship. Yeah, Guillermo del Toro has to ship his stuff to Netflix now. So
so. I would say the prestige director is dying, much like the
James Cameron
movie star. And I would say they're going to slowly go away, and I think we're going to see more art house directors.
I hope so. I still want Villeneuve to be and Christopher Nolan to be our. I said this the other day, and somebody yelled at me. Our modern day Kubrick and Spielberg, and it's not. They're not the same. But Villeneuve and Nolan are doing more impressive, big scope cinema projects than anyone else currently.
And I mean, because he's definitely
well,
he's definitely prestige, because I just now realized something. I mean, like he directed Blade Runner 2049, and that movie bombed really bad, and yet they still gave him a big budget to make Dune. So I mean, like they're still clearly willing to take a big risks on him, because I think he's just a very well, kind of respected director.
So, but the point is, look, Dune comes out this year. If Dune, that's another thing I was going to bring up. If Dune, this is big news. Let me bring this up on my Twitter. This is kind of big news, actually.
Which is?
Share this tab.
Jesus.
Oh yeah, this is my funny meme. I heard he can square my E = M cussy. Oh wait, shit! I didn't show it. Here it is.
Oh yeah, I saw that one. That one's pretty good. Yeah.
I love this guy. This guy who plays
Einstein. Yeah.
Einstein is so good. But that's not what I was going to show. It was this one. It was talking about this. Here it is. Marvel Studios. Can you guys see this? Was this too small?
Oh, I can see it.
I know why.
Oh,
I'm fixing it now.
Okay.
Fixing it. It was just my
Oh,
Marvel Studios. Let me go to the actual. Won't screen in. Oh, come on. Won't screen in IMAX unless Dune 2.
Yeah, I see that.
Marvels. Sorry, the Marvels. So what's happening? I'll just quickly explain it. If Dune doesn't move because of the writer's strike being an issue with their marketing, if it sticks its landing in November, it's going to run, because the IMAX people who own IMAX have already said They're sticking with Dune. It's going to run for 5 or 6 weeks straight in IMAX. And the Marvels, which comes around the same time, isn't going to get any IMAX.
The Marvels
at
is going to
all.
lose money. It's going to lose money.
What do you think about that? Cyborg.
He's having
shit.
dog trouble, I think.
Oh. Well, we'll ask him when he gets back. But isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty insane because like my thing with the Marvels, I mean I think the Marvels is probably going to lose $100 million to $250 million. I don't think it's going to do well. I think Disney Snow White is going to bomb because these live action remakes have run out of steam. I mean, like when you look at
of course
Little Mermaid and how the Little Mermaid is doing, I think they've lost steam. I think these live action movies are done.
I forgot to share this. Yeah, sorry.
So,
yeah, I agree. And look, they're saying it right here, which is Dune is already in the midst of a marketing campaign. There's trailers, there's a lot of material out. So that's kind of why they're considering not moving it.
Yeah,
they put it back in the gate. You've got to duplicate those same expenses again in the future to release all the trailers and everything. That's going to be expensive.
Yeah.
So here's what I put out on Twitter, which is this. Let me share this back. This is what I was trying to say, and a lot of people kind of resonated with it.
Yeah.
But basically, this is my opinion. But I said everyone should go see Dune 2 in theaters.
Yeah.
I'll clarify that in a second. The message is clear. Stop producing shit like the Marvels. Make more films like Dune and Oppenheimer. This isn't hard. Sink Disney, flood the markets with better films, and show up to support.
Yeah.
This right here should be anybody who
pretty base.
You have to be like sort of on. We have to be on the same page. If you don't like anything Disney's been doing, then we're on the same page. But
yeah.
If you don't pay for Disney in theaters, instead go see Oppenheimer, go see Dune, and go see Mission Impossible, then Hollywood's gonna just they're just gonna realistically start funding and making more of those kinds of movies, guys.
Well,
it's not that difficult to figure out.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's one of those things where is Mission Impossible also a franchise that is out of steam?
Maybe.
Because here's because it is a question of, and this is why I was talking about the live action Disney remakes and all that stuff, because it's like, when does a franchise run out of steam? Like, why is this stuff not moving anymore? And it's a combination of a few things, but I think it is a combination of just some of the novelty has worn off, some of the interest has waned, and some people are looking for something different, like Barbie or Oppenheimer. I think they're starting to be like, oh, let's watch that instead. Because Mission Impossible isn't doing too good because it had a production budget of $290 million. And as of right now, the worldwide box office is only sitting at 380.
Yeah, it's not doing very good.
Not doing good.
However, what was the last one? What did the last one make?
I
don't think it did as well. I don't think it did that well, to be honest. If you look that up. Hi, Vex and Zax and everybody. Vex says that Dune shouldn't move. It's going to kill at the box office. I agree. I think
Mission Impossible.
I think it's going to make about the same as the first one, maybe a little bit more. I think the hype is it's already here. It's like, what is sending Zendaya in front of a camera going to do at this point? Maybe she is that big of a name that it'll sell an extra 50 million. I don't know.
So actually, Fallout did make a fair amount of money. Its production budget was only $178 million.
Yeah.
So much less in terms of the production budget, and the worldwide box office was $786 million.
Oh. Okay.
So,
so that's double what we have now with this one.
Yeah. But it becomes
the length.
That's something that I was going to bring up, is it the length because it's a part one? Because the ending is kind of like, oh man, the journey is just beginning, which we can get into when we talk about it. But
yeah, but Avatar was really long and it made a lot of money.
Yeah, that's true.
I I don't think there's enough people out there with back problems that are like hundreds of millions of dollars are going to sink it if it's too long. But maybe that's part of it.
Theaters would really benefit from throwing an intermission in those movies, man. Give people time to buy snacks.
I agree with that.
Agree 100%. I think they should do that for any movie that's like longer, or any movie that goes 3 hours or longer. They should have an intermission in the middle, because if you have a 3 hour long movie, right, you can have an intermission at 1 hour and 30 minutes in.
90-minute movie,
90-minute,
90-minute movie.
Exactly. I agree 100%, Mark.
That's interesting.
Because all of these profits have been pretty consistent. Okay, because like Rogue Nation, 150 million production budget, 688 million. Ghost Protocol, 145 million, $694 million budget. So they've all made like nice profits.
Oh, I wanted to go to China. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to check China.
China's the big one, yeah.
China's $42 million for Mission Impossible. Is that a lot? Maybe not.
It's okay.
It's actually kind of a lot. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just think Tom Cruise is big, but it is weird to me. I just don't quite understand why this is not, because I saw it in theaters. I liked it.
I mean, I liked it, but my first thought was like, oh man, I don't think this is going to track well, and I don't think it's going to get great word of mouth, because
one thing with this guy is about Mission Impossible that we have to establish. Do we know how much of the budget is split between Dead Reckoning Part 1 and 2?
I don't know.
Because they're shot back to back.
That's a good question. Because Avatar did the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, Words of Paradise. Again, I think we're all in agreement here, right? I mean, Mark and me agree. Lofty, I think you're on this, right? Yeah, so we're all in agreement here. We're all intermission here, baby. All my homies love intermissions because it gives you a chance to stretch your legs. And here's the other thing. It gives you a chance to discuss the movie before the movie's over.
Yeah. I like it. I like it. Yeah, it depends. I like it as a novelty. I don't know if I would want it in every movie.
Not in every movie, but if it's a 3 hour long movie or more,
yeah,
intermission.
Also, that opens the door to more 4 hour movies for things like Scorsese movies. It's like, okay, well, whatever. There's an intermission. You can put it in theaters. Because the theaters will be like, yes, we want those.
So
we want people buying more popcorn.
Yeah. Oh, that's the other thing, right? Because you might buy popcorn and stuff. Because here's the thing. Okay, so I'm gonna bring up a classic one. This is
Hateful Eight had a long run time and an intermission. That was the 70mm print though.
Yeah,
special run.
Oh, that was only the 70mm print. I went to go see it in 70mm, but I thought the intermission was cool.
Yeah,
I liked it. Yeah, I think it makes it more of like a theater.
We went to go get a beer. Yeah, it was a good time.
So
yeah, because if you go to a theater, if you go see like Les Mis or something, they have an intermission. It feels it's a cool like novelty thing. I just don't want it in every movie that's longer than 2.5 hours. You know what I mean?
It was normal.
Yeah.
It was pretty normal for movies that were 3 hours or longer back in the golden age of Hollywood.
Yeah.
So to kick it way back, and when I say way back, I mean way back before my mother was born. Ben-Hur, which is one of only 3 movies that won every Academy Award that year. It took home all of them. Came out 59, and it is 3 hours and 30 minutes long, I believe. And it opens with an overture, and it has an intermission halfway through. Right? That was a normal thing for really long movies back in the day. Lord of the Rings, apparently. Oh, interesting.
I don't remember that because I saw that when I was like 12 in theaters.
That's neat. I like that. That's good.
I do remember watching it, and the funny thing about that is the first one, my dad took me and my friends, and at the end of the movie, he leaned over, he was like, it's been 3 hours. Do you know like how much longer they're gonna take to get to Mordor? And I was like, Dad, it's a trilogy. And he had no idea. He had no clue. He thought the movie was gonna be. He was panicking because it was at the 3 hour mark, and or whatever 2 hour, however long it is. And it's pretty long, maybe 2.5 hours for theatrical. But he was like, dude, now they have to go so far, and I'm just like, no, we're good.
No. Whoa, Andrew Matthews, are you correct about that? Can somebody confirm that? That is insane.
What happened?
He said China takes 70% of the film's take.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
It's a big number. I can't remember if it's 70 or not. I looked it up before, but it's a lot.
Is it really crazy to think that China takes 70% of a film's take in China?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
That's not crazy at all.
Well, I mean, for movie,
But
I mean, that's like, man.
I mean, if their Hollywood makes, I don't know, man. That is a lot.
I'm honestly surprised they don't just pay the studio a flat rate and then take all the money that they make in the box office in China.
That's true. Flat rate.
That's China, man.
Yeah. So, the other thing I wanted to say is, where's the box office? Where I had it somewhere.
Which one are you looking for?
This one. Is my screen showing the worldwide box office?
I can see your screen. Yeah, I can see your screen. Yeah.
So, so last year Top Gun. So like this is another thing. Is Top Gun being an old revival of an older movie way more appealing than because it's both Tom Cruise, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then a seventh movie in like a franchise. Is that probably a big factor?
Well, yes, but also the fact is that people kind of have a little bit of nostalgia for that old Top Gun movie. And the thing is, it's not a remake; it's a sequel.
Yeah,
a sequel,
which is respectful. And Top Gun is a huge hit with normies. Yes. Normies fucking love Top Gun.
Mm-hmm.
Which is good. It's good for its box office. I'm not bringing that up as a negative. It's totally cool to be a normie. I married one.
Yeah. So I'm excited for Nolan. And now, do you think it's going to top Interstellar numbers? Because Interstellar made I want to say 700 million or something.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. It's all about
700 million.
The drop is, because the thing is that Elemental is still not making the studio money, but it's been holding decently. It hasn't been, Elemental has been holding relatively well. And so it's been dropping, I believe, like 30% ish a week. Most movies drop 50% in their first week. So the fact that Elemental is holding a little bit better is kind of not bad.
This is crazy. Sound of Freedom beat Shazam.
Yeah.
It beat what else we got here? It beat Shazam. It beat Air.
Yeah.
Shazam, I guess, failed miserably.
Yeah, Shazam did not do well.
Dungeons
Cocaine Bear.
Yeah, Dungeons did fairly well, I guess. I don't know how much that was. Probably a big budget.
It did.
Flash fucking look at it. Oppenheimer's going to take the Flash any day now.
Yeah.
Anyway, I didn't want to get too into the. Now my brain's starting to hurt trying to do all these numbers. But just in general, the vibe that I think is pretty cool because of what Barbenheimer did, being the fourth highest grossing box office weekend in history. Right behind, I believe, Force Awakens. So, I don't know, man. I saw both that weekend. I know people who've seen Barbie 3 times, like in real life, personally.
Yeah.
This movie is going to easily hit $1 billion, in my opinion.
I think it will. I think it will hit $1 billion. Yeah.
Yeah. And wow, man. I don't know. The other Mattel stuff freaks me out.
I don't want to see any other Mattel stuff.
What do you guys think about? I guess we could talk a little. Is there anything else on this kind of vague topic that would worth mentioning here? Kind of the state of Hollywood.
I mean, the state of Hollywood is somewhat precarious. I mean, you got the massive strike going on. You have these movies that are not doing that well, but you also have some ones that have grown organically, and I think that they're going to take the wrong lessons away. They're going to say more toy movies, more biopics, instead of more IPs based on people with a unique vision and a unique flavor to them to put their own touch on it. It's not that it is Oppenheimer. It is Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer. That's very different. It's not Ron Howard. And I don't mean to slag on Ron Howard, but whenever I think of generic director, for some reason I just think of Ron Howard, like someone who doesn't really have much style.
I know, but he put a good movie out last year. Did anybody see 13 Lives or no?
No, I did not.
Great movie. Viggo Mortensen. It's really good. And Colin Farrell. 13
go.
lives.
Love me some Vigo.
But yeah, somebody said, Vex says, what's the worldwide drop? I don't know how to look any of this information up.
So going back to the numbers, the drop for Barbie is sitting at, in terms of, let's see, so far. Wait, is that real?
I don't know how to look these up, but I think it's.
No, I'm looking at it.
It's crushing it.
Wait, yeah, that's not much of a drop at all.
They're
Wait,
saying
is
it's
that
going to
true?
hit 700 million by Sunday.
It might actually. It looks like it's only a 32% drop. That's really good.
I'm wearing a Barbie shirt, buddy.
That's really good. If that's the case, let's see here. Change percentage, July 22nd. Let's see. That's a 30% drop. Yeah. So yeah. That's wow.
Yeah.
32% drop. That ain't bad at all. That's really good. That's really good. I wonder what the drop for Oppenheimer is, honestly.
I was going to ask you guys. It bombs.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you guys what your thoughts are on Oppenheimer. Wait, Marc, you saw Oppenheimer?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you saw it a while ago. Yeah.
Yo.
I want to compare it to like the last. Okay, so the last Nolan. I saw every Nolan movie in theaters. But we have Dunkirk. What's the one in between? Oh, Tenet. And Interstellar. The last four: Dunkirk, Tenet, Interstellar. Because once you get back to the Batman movies, it's kind of a totally different. Not really. You shouldn't compare a superhero movie with Oppenheimer.
Does Inception count as a Batman movie?
It's a James Bond movie.
Yeah, but it was kind of like all the Batman people were in it. Whatever.
That's true. Cillian Murphy. No, Oppenheimer to me is my favorite movie of his since fucking Batman Begins. I think, personally, on first viewing, I should say.
More than Dark Knight and Inception. I like Inception.
Well, I'm not a big Inception fan. We can talk about it, but I just think Oppenheimer to me is like a near masterpiece. It's so intense, man. There's not a moment of like something I would have taken out. Like
really?
No. Yeah. Oh yeah. I think this moves. If anything, this should have been 4 hours long because of how fast it moved.
See, my take on it was kind of that I felt like I saw the extended cut of the movie in the theater, which I think I enjoyed it. I enjoyed all of Oppenheimer. I even enjoyed the third act. Yep. I think the third act, it slams on the brakes so hard, and it does a lot of covering the same ground from slightly different perspectives. Like with I don't know how spoilery can we be? It's a historical.
Yeah, full spoilers.
Okay, so the third act of the movie, though, largely deals with a tribunal of sorts in which they're trying to see whether Oppenheimer is guilty of doing something that they should revoke his security clearance for.
Yeah.
So, and this is a whole hour. It's not like one little scene at the end where it's like, hey, they do a little trial scene and that's it. It's a lot of scenes in the same room with different people coming in and sharing their perspectives on Oppenheimer and the Manhattan Project and how he acted, what his communist sympathies were, what his relationship with his wife and his ex-wife were. Like, all that stuff is a lot of information that we know from watching the movie, and it's a lot of different people going over the same things, and their versions are only a little bit different. And ultimately it comes down to, I believe Oppenheimer is not a risk to national security, and a couple of people saying I'm not sure if he is or not. And I just think that like you could cut 15 minutes out of that movie and I think it would just move so much more briskly towards the end. And I think the big problem is because
everybody has a different take.
Oppenheimer and the Manhattan Project, I think most people are wired to be thinking that the atomic test is the end of the movie or the climax. It's like, oh, we saw the bomb, but then it's like the movie's got like another hour to go. So I think a lot of people were like about ready to get up and then didn't really realize that the movie was not even a little bit done. That like it was a whole other third of the movie, to go. So I don't know. I just think they could have cleaned it up, but I think that if they released this cut as the extended cut, I think it's the one that most people would end up watching at home because
for sure
in a home setting, you can make your own intermissions, baby.
Yeah. And
And you have puppies.
I just think this movie's better than Tenet. I think it's
yeah.
Definitely
I think
is.
it's yeah. I like the script much better than Interstellar. I think Interstellar has
okay. Well,
Interstellar has like some
not
very
having-
melodramatic sort of stuff that's just
it's got a lot of mechanical issues too.
yeah.
It's
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 a little
like that one in Dark Knight Rises. He was firing out just quick and was not really thinking too much about his mechanics.
Yeah, Interstellar is
but it's beautiful. Interstellar is one that I will watch on repeat. It's weird. I don't
got good performances and stuff, and obviously it's Chris Nolan, so the movie looks great. Like that's almost a given. What did you guys think about? Oh wait, okay, maybe we should talk about this later. But I definitely want to talk about IMAX format versus potentially seeing it in another format.
I didn't see it in 70 millimeter.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't get a ticket.
Oh, that's amazing. So am I the only one that has?
Yeah. I saw it on IMAX.
Oh, okay. So then you have as well then. Yeah, because IMAX is
I saw it on IMAX. I just didn't see it on 70 millimeter because I had to drive an hour. You know what I mean?
IMAX is 70 millimeter though, isn't it?
No, 70 millimeter has like I don't know how many theaters. The closest one to me is like an hour away, but I have an IMAX theater like 20 minutes away.
But you can have 70 millimeter film, like 70 millimeter. Hateful Eight, for example, was 70 millimeter projection, and I went to go see that at the Varsity Theater down by University of Toronto. But IMAX is always 70 millimeter, like movies that are shot in IMAX with IMAX cameras. So the bank heist from The Dark Knight, and Dark Knight Rises actually, and maybe even Interstellar. I think maybe do a thing and. Oh God!
Mission Impossible was
the one. Now I'm forgetting it. God, Inception. The words Interstellar and Inception were getting crossed in my brain, and I was short circuiting. But I think all of them are mostly in 35 millimeter. But there are scenes in the movie that actually the cool thing, at least with Dark Knight, if you watch it on Blu-ray at home, it'll have letterboxing at the top and bottom of the screen. And then when the IMAX things come out, you'll notice the picture will get a little more crisp, and the letterbox goes away. So you do get a bit of that IMAX ratio. And IMAX is 70 millimeter, but it's different dimensions than 70 millimeter film because it's like a square, but it's still 70 millimeters. But each frame of film, if you measured it diagonally, would be 70 millimeters. Just with IMAX, it's like
but there's only 30 theaters in the world that are capable of showing full IMAX 70 millimeter ratio on the screen. Like my theater cut off the edges is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, most
theaters even in IMAX, like the quality was no different, but it was just the ratio. Yeah,
the one that I shared probably is one of those ones because that was the first IMAX. If you look at my Twitter, the Cinesphere at Ontario Place in Toronto, that was 1971, I believe, the first ever IMAX theater.
Why do you gotta put me on blast like that, Lofty? The fuck you doing?
What did I do?
You brought up my comment.
You put it in the chat.
I know, but the chat is private and sacred.
It's his chat.
He put it back up again.
Leave it there for the rest of the show.
Yeah.
No, you put it in the public chat.
Oh damn.
Okay, the ending to Interstellar is a very feels over reels ending. It narratively or not even narratively, thematically or poetically, it's kind of nice, but it's insane. Like it's not. I think that he really
it's stunning.
Lofty, hang on though, because Marc, have you trademarked the catchphrase "feels over reels"?
I mean, no.
You probably should. It's pretty good.
Wait,
it's pretty good.
It's revenge.
People say that all the time.
Well, you should trademark it, so then only you can say it.
I want to say the ending is a beautiful construction of like the fifth dimension or whatever, and it looks amazing on film, and like whatever he did with like all the I don't even know what he did, but however he filmed that is brilliant, and it looks cool. But the music makes it's like, and Matthew McConaughey is like crying and like trying to get to his daughter. It's so melodramatic that
it's like an anime ending. It's the most
very
force in the universe. It was love all along. It transcends space and time. And okay, but I thought that you were making a serious space movie, man. Like, what
I
the
thought Interstellar was going to be about going to interstellar travel, like going to all these different planets. Like they didn't in the
I mean,
trailer.
I
They didn't
suppose
really
it
say.
kind of was, but like
They
it
went
was
to one planet for 10 minutes. That's it.
well, and not
You know?
10 minutes for everyone else.
I know, but that was underwhelming to me. Like I
Planet.
wanted more
Then
travel.
they went to
I
Matt
wanted
Damon
him-
planet.
Yeah.
Matt Damon planet.
Yeah.
He named it after himself. Its planet's name is Matt Damon.
Well, I mean, it was
It's not
funny
a
that
bad
Martin came a couple years after that. It's like, fuck, Matt Damon keeps on being the lone survivor on a planet. What's up with that?
No, World of Paradise, you're right. I don't hate the melodrama. I just think it's like I prefer movies like 2001 where there's I don't know. I've seen so many movies where like love and family and like I don't necessarily want that in my sci-fi movies, but I understand why it works and like Nolan did a pretty good job with it, but
Yeah.
I still like it a lot. It's not even it's in my top probably top 6, top 5 Nolan movies, top 6.
So,
But Oppenheimer, yeah.
yeah,
think, Jackson?
I will be honest. I'm kind of more with you, Lofty. I thought it kind of breezed right on by.
Yeah,
I
well, it
felt it
moved
to be
so
a
fast.
relatively easy sit.
Did you hear any of the other people in your theater talking on your way out?
Oh yeah.
No.
That's one of the things that made it abundantly clear to me that most of the people in there were kind of pissed about the last hour because there was a lot of, oh my god, that movie just refused to end. Bam, back and it was audible from a lot of people around me to the point that I felt almost uncomfortable being like, yeah, that was really good.
Huh.
Yeah,
I had kind of the opposite experience, honestly.
Yeah, I also heard that from one person, but I heard a lot of people talking about basically my theater is packed with Christopher Nolan fans and they were all like geeking out over it. Like the whole I only heard one person talk about how long it was.
Yeah, I didn't hear any discussion about the length. The only thing I heard was one guy, he made a joke about nuclear war with the Russians, about the war in Ukraine kind of joke, and then his buddies kind of laughed, and that was pretty much the only discussion I heard about it. Most people went, at least Matt Damon was evil.
2 planets?
Yeah, it was 2 planets.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. I liked the way he used the color scenes versus the black and white scenes. The color scenes were kind of framed as like Oppenheimer's memories and his feelings on what was going on, and the black and white was more the reality. And I thought, I think Cillian Murphy's a shoo-in for Best Actor this year at the Academy Awards. I think he's shoo-in. I think he's got it in the bag.
It's hard to say at the moment for me, but
I mean, maybe Leo might clinch it with Killers of the Flower Moon. We haven't seen it yet. But I mean, I don't know. I think he clinches it.
I think he's gonna ride that Brendan Fraser kind of hype, where like a new guy that hasn't been in a lot lately. You know what I mean? Like that's what happened to Brendan Fraser.
No, Cillian Murphy is a character actor. He's in a ton of stuff. But he plays bit parts, side characters, all that kind of stuff. This is his first like really big role.
Sir.
Yeah.
Zombie movie ever.
I just think he has that like that he's not expected. He came out of nowhere to do this is what I'm trying to say. Like,
yeah.
Most people
in a way,
Blinders, you know? And that's all he's been doing.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. That's true. Although I think I don't know, he's one of those guys that I think I don't know, I think he's got it in the bag unless I mean, who knows? I mean, because Leo might totally kill it. Killers of the Flower Moon. I mean, Leo might really go crazy.
He always does. Always. So, he's always like a perfect performance.
So maybe he really turns in a good one. And the other thing is that we don't know how good Joaquin Phoenix is as Napoleon, because he might also be really good.
Well, he was already brilliant in Beau is Afraid. He should win for that, but he's not gonna be nominated.
Yeah. They're not gonna win. Beau is no. The Academy doesn't even know what that movie is.
No, they're stupid. Telling you that's probably the best performance since I've ever seen since maybe Daniel Day-Lewis. I think it's better than his Joker. Yeah, Beau is Afraid. I think it's better than his Joker, honestly.
Oh yeah, probably. I mean, I think it is. But the thing is that like the Academy is like they're a bunch of old white guys that watch DVD
Yeah,
screamers.
Chat,
I mean,
Beau's Afraid is this
yeah.
horror movie.
Well, now you've given it away.
Well, it's called Beau's Afraid. No,
Made by Ari Aster. Like,
yeah, it's the guy who made Hereditary and Midsummer.
Midsummer, which starred Florence Pugh, who
Florence Pugh.
is the star of Oppenheimer, if you ask me.
She is the star. Yeah, somebody asked that in the chat. Her scenes were fine. She was good. You know, she's a little naked on the screen for like a few seconds, but it's not. Everybody's making a big deal out of it. It's like the least interesting sex scene I've ever seen. Maybe
it's. I think people are so. In a lot of ways, we're very prudish now. In a lot of ways, and any kind of sexuality or nudity in movies is like something where we're like, wow.
I was just like, thank you. Throw a sex scene into a movie. Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So this is Beau's Afraid, the 3-hour-long movie, another one of those. And it's just Joaquin Phoenix in these different stages of his life, and the whole movie is about him trying to visit his mother, but he has probably the most anxiety of any human being on the planet Earth. Like he can't even he can't function in wait, did you see this, Jackson?
Yeah, I did.
Oh yeah. So I don't want to. There's a lot that I could spoil, but I don't want. Like, look, he's walking around. There's all kinds of weird things.
Yeah.
But holy shit, I just think the camera holds on his face like for lengthy periods of time in this movie, and he does these really emotional scenes. It's so crazy.
I agree with you. By the way, I'm not saying that I disagree with you. I'm just saying that Cillian Murphy is going to win because he's in a prestige drama made by a relatively well-known director, and this is an A24 movie. And the Academy just doesn't like A24. They just don't like them.
But this chick here should, and then whoever plays his mother should win. But she's, once again, Hereditary was Toni Collette should have been nominated. I don't think she was.
No. What's A24 movies? The Academy does not like A24.
Man,
I think it's because A24 is New York and they're LA, and it's like a rivalry thing where they don't like A24. And also, I don't know if you know this, but A24 is they're still doing production. They're still making movies because they just agreed to everything that SAG was striking for, and they said, yeah, sure. And they just keep making movies. So like A24 is still making movies. So I think that's the other thing, is that like A24 is a lot more loose and a lot more like art for the artist kind of thing. And I don't think Hollywood likes that much. So
Cillian's probably going to win. You're probably right. DiCaprio has a history of not winning when he should. So maybe we'll see. I don't know. Yeah. But then Paul Giamatti is supposed to have a really good performance coming out this year too. And Mike. So I don't know.
I guess my thing is I don't know. I really, really liked his performance. I really liked how he essentially played two different characters really well, because the black and white scenes, he's a lot more kind of cold and impersonal and a little like off. And it's like, oh, that's how he really was.
Yeah.
Where like the color scenes, he's a bit more endearing and you just kind of like him a little bit more. Yeah. But then you see the black and white scenes and you're like, I don't know about this guy.
I like that. I'm biased. I love him in this movie. I think he's amazing, but I like him better in Peaky Blinders. I think he has more range. He has way more range. His character is more complex, even though this character is very complex. But it's all like this character is pretty similar throughout the whole movie. He doesn't go through a lot of. In the beginning, he has a little bit of an interesting arc, but the rest of the movie, he's sort of just paranoid and miserable, and I like that about him. But Peaky Blinders, like Tommy Shelby, Cillian Murphy's character in Peaky Blinders is like one of the most dynamic characters I've ever seen ever, in not just television and anything. So that's just, I'm biased, and I think he did a better job in there. Maybe that's why I was slightly underwhelmed with this performance, but I still think it's like a masterpiece.
Yeah, I really liked that. I also it wasn't like directly stated, which I really liked, because like it's something you needed to pick up on. You know, it's something you just need to be paying attention to, and you'd be like, huh.
Oh yeah, you got to be paying.
He's different in the black and white scenes. Like his performance is different. Like,
I wanted you guys to because like I said, I'll probably do a Nolan stream. What I want to do is I want to do I don't know if I have two ideas. I want to either do like a Nolan versus Tarantino stream at some point, or have a bunch of people on, representing a director, and then like debating on why your person is better than the others, stuff like that. I don't want to like
Tarantino.
Yeah, so I have fun ideas for games and stuff like that. But I think moving on from Nolan, I guess we could just, if you guys wanted to talk about your takeaway of Mission Impossible, and then what you think about like part 1, part 2, and then like maybe what you think about that in the context of John Wick and other action movies.
That's just to continue off of Oppenheimer though, because I did want to bring up the fact that
I'll be right back.
I didn't know that Alden Ehrenreich was in the movie, and he's great. He's really good. It really is a shame how poorly edited and like lit that Solo movie was. Like, it did not do him any favors. Like, man, there's some really good fan edits out there that turn that movie into such a good little adventure movie, and it shows that Alden really had the stuff to play a young Han Solo. But man, I don't know who that editor was. I don't know if he had it in for Ron Howard and Ehrenreich, and maybe he just didn't like Childish Gambino's music and was like, I'm gonna fuck this movie up. But my God, the editing in that movie is terrible. Like the theatrical movie, not the fan edits. The fan edits fix a lot of that shit. Mostly what they do is they streamline the movie and they cut out the robot, and that's pretty much all they do, and it improves the movie so much. It's really shocking. But yeah, but Alden Ehrenreich was great in Oppenheimer. He was one of those guys that I didn't know was in it, and he really plays off of Robert Downey Jr. really well. I really like their dynamic. And Robert Downey Jr. was really good too. I was really happy that he was in a lot of the movie, because it seemed like he was only going to be in like a few scenes. Like the marketing had him like show up in a couple like flashes here and there. And I was like, okay. But it turns out he was in a fair amount of the movie, and I liked that.
I didn't even realize he was in it at all until I was watching it. I was like, oh shit, Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah. So he put together quite a cast for this, because I forgot Florence Pugh was in it. And I was like, that communist chick looks familiar. And I'm like, oh, that's who that is. Like, I just completely was like, One-Eyed Crow, what's your favorite fan edit?
I instantly noticed it was her, and I was like, shit, Florence Pugh is in every movie.
Yeah, I liked her in it. I thought she played her part well. I thought all the people played off of each other quite well, and that was kind of my favorite part about it, is that all of the actors seemed to have a lot of play with each other in a way that was engaging. To answer your question, One-Eyed Crow, can you be more specific? Are you referring to fan edits in general, Star Wars fan edits, or specifically Solo? Because that can get pretty deep. So I'm gonna need
on that point, I'm willing to bet Lofty, I know you are a good enough editor, and I believe I am as well, that if we had the theatrical cut of Oppenheimer here now, and we're given a task by the studio to say, look, we have to cut this down to 2.5 hours or 2 hours and 45 minutes. It's non-negotiable. Christopher Nolan doesn't know we're doing it. He will know that you cut it down. Can you do this? I think I could do it and make a watchable 2.5 hour or 2 hour and 45 minute cut.
I don't know. I like the length, honestly. I don't know.
I'm not talking again. I'm not talking about for people like us who will sit through a 3-hour movie because it's like, okay, I want the extra story. I want the extra detail. The people who will be squirming in their seats by the 2 hour, 15 minute mark.
Okay.
And so they just have half an hour or 15 minutes to go. I think it's a little more.
Okay. I know. I get what you're saying now. I get what you're saying. So you're like, oh, you cut out, Marc.
Oh, I was gonna say though, the thing is though, I'm not talking about having the alternate coverage and everything and re-editing the film or trying to tell your own story. Just take the theatrical cut. We're gonna call that one the extended director's cut. Cut us the theatrical cut because we can't have this movie being 3 hours.
So how do we normify Oppenheimer?
Yeah,
I like it. I like it. I like that challenge. I like it.
Could do it, and it would be pretty good.
That's a good challenge. I like that.
Yeah. I mean, debatably, we wouldn't be able to do it until it's like out on digital so that we have the movie, and we wouldn't be able to upload it anywhere. But
I kind of like that. I like the idea of cutting a movie and editing a movie that you already like. You're already like, I like this, but what if I could cut it down?
Well,
I like that idea.
Tighten it up a bit while preserving the intention of the director and the script.
That's a good challenge. I like that. Okay, so I like the extra length Litigation Jackson. Yeah, okay, Mighty Wolf. In general, I mean, here's the thing, One-Eyed Crow. I've seen quite a few fan edits, and most of them are not very good. I will say that in general, Star Wars has benefited the most from fan edits because there are a lot of very passionate people that are also very talented. And I think the HAL 9000 edit of episode 1 greatly improves the movie. It trims it down quite a lot. It cuts out a lot of the bullshit that isn't needed. It essentially completely cuts out the Gungan underwater city and that whole underwater sequence that just did need to be in the movie.
Oh, I might like that.
And it completely cuts out all the Jar Jar humor. And so it streamlines it, and it also makes Jar Jar seem more competent, and it makes him seem like an everyman. So so it makes him like an everyman in a way where he was just there, and he was just a guy. And so he keeps the sequence where he meets Padme, and she asks, "Oh, you're a Gungan?" And he's like, "Mm-hmm." He's like, "Well, Padme's like, "Well, how did you end up with us?" And he's like, "I don't know. My day was starting pretty okie day with the brisky morning munchin', and then boom, I got very scared, and I grabbed onto that Jedi, and here I am." And that's all we need for Jar Jar's character. He's just a dude that was wandering around the forest, and he ran into Qui-Gon. That's all I need. It's perfect.
You guys think,
I actually like Jar Jar in the movie, honestly. He's an everyman. In terms of episode 2, again, HAL 9000's edit of episode 2 is the superior version of episode 2, and it does essentially the same thing. It cuts out a lot of the bullshit, it makes the character smarter, and it streamlines it. Solo, I like the IC Group's color correction edit. They essentially stream it down, they cut out that fucking annoying robot, and they color correct the whole thing, which the movie desperately needed.
How many fan edits are there of? I've never watched a single fan edit of anything.
We should do an episode on that sometime, Lofty. We should.
I don't think I have an interest in fan edits. I prefer to watch it how it's supposed to be made, I guess. I understand the appeal of them, but I don't know. There's too many movies to watch in general. I don't know why I would ever watch a fan edit of something. That's just I don't know. Are they popular?
Yeah.
It can be an interesting exercise in editing, though, and thinking about how you can, how much of the movie is not made by the director, but is made by the person who is doing the editing.
There's
some directors, I mean, obviously, a guy like Christopher Nolan or Quentin Tarantino, they'll obviously be very hands-on, but with editing, and they might even just flat out do the editing on their own. But I mean, the editor, for the most part, like if it's just a normal movie, like your average, just, hey, this is a medium budget movie, and the editor is going to be the one that puts it together. Here's the storyboards. Call the director if you need to. Here's what he wants, and show him the cuts. He'll give you notes, and then
and you have to understand, Lofty, like fan editing is also a jumping off point for people to become editors in the industry. The movie Raising Cain. Someone edited it, and the director liked it so much he called it his definitive director's cut, even though he didn't edit it. He liked the fan edit so much he said that was his director's cut, and he stamped his letter of approval on it and said, "That's my version of the movie. That's the movie that I always wanted to make." Right there, that edit, and it's a fan edit, but now it's the director's cut. So if you look up Raising Cain director's cut, you're watching a fan edit. So the fan edits are an important part of the movie ecosystem because it can jump off a lot of people's careers. It can get them recognition. And it also gives fans the movies that honestly they deserve as fans, because like The Hobbit, garbage, terrible trilogy, awful movies. But there are a lot of fan edits out there that make them considerably better, that really improve the story and make it a lot more book accurate and a lot more story accurate, which is what Peter Jackson should have done in the first fucking place. And so fan edits are also a way to say, you know, you did this wrong. Let me fix it. Because Solo was edited wrong. It was just edited wrong. It had too much bloat. It had too much bullshit, and it needed to be cut down. It needed to be streamlined. It was supposed to be an important and fun little space adventure with Han Solo, and instead it was some weird bullshit. Lando has a robot, and the robot talks a lot, and then there's like the Kira thing. The Kira thing is streamed down. The robot's cut. Way better.
Andrew Mathis says, can Nolan and Tarantino both get an editor or someone just to say no?
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't. I
Nolan, yes. Tarantino, no. I like.
Yeah, I don't get the Tarantino one, but Nolan. Sometimes his editing is all over the place. This one had beautiful editing. Sorry, Oppenheimer. I thought it was very artistic and it was poetic many times. It reminded me of like especially the cinematography and the pacing of some of those scenes reminded me of Tarkovsky. I know he had a heavy influence on Hoyt van Hoytema. Was like, yeah, we're gonna do a bunch of Tarkovsky in this movie.
Yeah,
he pulled references from The Mirror and from Andrei Rublev and things like that.
Raising Cain, by the way, if you don't know, is a Brian De Palma film.
Brian De Palma, yeah.
Yeah. So
has made some good stuff, man.
Yeah. So he reached out to Pete. I think it was like Pete Genderbloom or something. Gumblumberbloom. I can't remember his name. And he said like, hey, reach out to the I need to contact the Blu-ray company and get them to include this on the new release because this person has restored the true story of Raising Cain, and we need to get in contact with this person. So it can really do dividends for you.
I think Tarantino's editing is pretty on point usually.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't think of a.
Well, I mean, he lets his scenes breathe very often. Like he does a lot of longer scenes or scenes that almost go on for a length of time that seems uncomfortable for one sequence in the context of modern movies, especially. And I mean, maybe in the context of for the last like 40 years, movies tend to move a little bit faster than Tarantino tends to.
Oh, this is what he was talking about. They could be shorter. Glorious and Django. They were a little long.
Oh, yeah, I'm saying yes, they could be, but I
don't want them to be shorter. I love them the way they are.
Honestly, I see it. Django Unchained. Yeah, there's a couple scenes that maybe do go on a little too long. Inglourious Bastards, I disagree. I like Inglourious Bastards length, but
I don't know, man. I think I'm just gonna say I think people have. I think there's this weird obsession with movies that are too long. I just tend to disagree more than I agree. I think movies should be the length that they are most of the time. If you keep saying over and over again that movies should be shorter and shorter and shorter, it's just like it's this weird fixation on length to me that's like very superficial. And it's I don't get it with Django, and I definitely don't get it with Bastards.
I don't get that at all.
And again, like it's why I really had to finish my point there, because when I say they could be shorter, and I think Django more so than Inglourious Bastards, the puppies are fine. Don't worry, they're okay. But anyways, they could be shorter, but I don't necessarily want them to be.
Yeah.
And the reason I would cite is specifically because Quentin Tarantino knows how to make a scene which goes on too long still work. Whereas I don't think Nolan's particularly great at that. I think that there's
a lot of people that would agree with Andrew. I just don't. I'm not one of those people usually. But yeah, and it's not the length of the shots that matter to me. It's filler. It's unnecessary scenes, you know. But I don't want a trilogy shorter. That's another one. Hobbit. That's a totally different argument. The Hobbit should be 2 movies, you know.
Max.
Well, but I mean, you see how it's the same issue, really. Like, I mean, it's really just saying like how much time did you need to tell this story? And I think the main problem in the context that most people are talking about it, and it's not often people are referring to like Tarantino when they're talking about movies being too long. They're talking about shit like Ant-Man being 2 hours and 45 minutes. You know, like that's really was like, why are these movies this long? They're not edited with any skill, because I honestly think it's really easy to edit something that's super long and has tons of scenes that you don't really do a whole lot of cuts in. But that doesn't necessarily make for the best YouTube video, you know? And I think it's the same with movies where, I mean, for even the movie I made, Fear the Reaper, like I definitely had a version of it that was over 2 hours, and I cut it down to 1 hour and 40 minutes because the scenes that I cut were not particularly good. And ultimately, there were still times that I felt like, okay, this movie is going on a bit too long. So part of the difficult choice was to say, okay, this scene that has maybe a couple cool things about it, it's just got to go, because it doesn't really add that much to the movie. Most of its story critical details are sort of irrelevant. Like, I mean, you don't really need to know them; you can imply them. And hey, you got to cut this scene. And I think there's a lot of mainstream editors, like people working on Marvel movies and Star Wars shit, who just they don't know how to edit. They know how to cut a scene together functionally. It's like, they're shot, reverse shot. Those are all the characters. They've all said their lines. We're done here. It's like, I don't know. There's more to it than that, I think.
Yeah. Marvel movies, Star Wars stuff, indie, like, those are all good examples to bring up. I see a lot of people say whenever a movie, like there'll be an announcement like Killers of the Flower Moon is going to be 3 hours long, and then all the comments are like, not another one. Oh, this direct. What's the number one comment everybody always says is like, I can't remember, but it's a bunch of people like before even watching the movie just like upset that it's 3 hours. You know, and it's like the Apocalypse Now was very long. It's a masterpiece. Lord of the Rings, Andrew Rublev. You know, there's so many long movies that are really good. It's
why I think it's important to make the distinction and understand that the majority of people saying movies need to be shorter are talking about mainstream blockbuster movies, which really function better at the 90-minute runtime than they do at the 2 hour and 45-minute runtime.
Yeah, Ant-Man's a good example.
Did any of you guys see Flash?
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely not.
Yep.
Absolutely not.
Recently.
Okay, no, but I've seen Flash, and Flash, I think, as many people know, is a somewhat adaptation of the Flashpoint Paradox storyline.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is close to 2 hours and 40 minutes, I think. I think it's just shy of that. And it's terrible. But
sucks. Yeah.
the animated movie is 80 minutes, and it's amazing. And it's a better version of the same story that's just way tighter, to the point, and it does awesome shit, and then it ends. And so, well, it's like, what is the length for? Like, I don't get it. It's just like, well, we got to give Michael Keaton Batman enough time. It's like, okay, well, why don't you make
part of that is budget too. They spent all that money, so they want to use it, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, James Cameron though gets a lot of shit for his movies being too long, but I personally think Avatar is like the perfect length because of what it is. It's like sort of like an epic space opera.
Yeah. Well, I mean, true, but I mean, in terms of length, I mean, it is going to oftentimes come down to like, what are you doing with your runtime?
And that's where Avatar is split down the middle. Some people think the middle of the movie is a waste of time. Other people, like me, think the middle of the movie is maybe the best part because of how beautiful and gorgeous and like how much world building is involved. Whereas the rest of the movie, to me, it sounds like people want to cut that movie down to the most basic plot points. And to me, that would make it way worse because the movie's already sort of basic. So adding an hour of world building and, you know, underwater stuff just makes the movie more unique. more visually appealing, but more of a reason to even watch the movie. Like I couldn't even disagree more. It should be Cameron's like 12-hour version. I would watch it because he's talked about releasing Avatar 2 on streaming as like a 10-episode like mini series or something. You know, the shorter an Avatar movie is, the more basic and generic it is. Like, just think about the plot. You know what I mean?
Well, I think again the bigger problem is not the length of the film so much as the how the length of the film contributes to the mechanics of the story. And I think that you're probably right that if they did a mini series cut of Avatar: Way of Water that could really take its time, I think things like the environmentalist whale saver dude might have actually had more to do than just show up for 2 scenes and kind of disappear, I guess. Like, I don't know. There was a lot of there was a lot of things in Avatar 2 that seemed like, hey, maybe this was a 3-hour movie, but it seems like James Cameron wanted it to be a 4-hour movie.
He did. Yeah. No, you're right. He did. I think he said that. And then he said even longer on streaming. But Dune is another one. Dune should have been longer.
It could have been a little longer.
Dune cut too much out, in my opinion. I would have loved to see another 30 minutes of Dune. I think Dune should have been a TV show like Game of Thrones or House of Dragons. Like, it's, you know what I mean? It's a perfect format. Like HBO Dune would be incredible, but Villeneuve is so focused on the theater experience, which is perfect for Dune. So I get it, IMAX, but I just, you know, it's kind of a missed opportunity a little bit. But I still love Dune.
So speaking of length, Mission Impossible. Ooh, boy. So just thoughts.
I liked it a lot. I gave it an 8 out of 10. I think the story is a little corny, but all of the set pieces I thought were very entertaining. I think the only parts I don't really like are some of the exposition stuff with the AI like storyline. The rest of it, I love all the characters. I think the whole end with the train ending is really cool.
The Uncharted ending.
Yeah, I loved it visually. I think it's amazing.
I have expected to see like Nolan North be like, "Get out of there, Ethan."
and his stunt jumping off the thing is cool, but it's not even. It's just like 10 seconds long. But then he what's it called? He speed parachutes into the train. I thought that was cool. I thought the hanging part was cool when he crashed it. Yeah.
Well, but I mean, when he burst through the wall of the train, you didn't find that odd, and then happened to be right.
Oh, that was dumb.
Like,
but it's cool, but it's dumb. But it's I don't care about Mission Impossible, so to me, it's like fun dumb. Like,
I mean, I do care about Mission Impossible mostly because the last few movies have been really, really good, and Fallout is honestly probably one of the best written spy thrillers maybe ever, or at least action blockbuster spy thrillers. Don't be like, well,
pretty good.
We're seeing the Peter Taylor Soldier Spy. It's like, yes, it's great, but you know what I mean? Like, Mission Impossible is a different kind of spy movie.
Yeah, they're very entertaining.
I will say, and I hate to bring up this argument again, it was too long. It was too fucking long.
Well, yeah, you have to couple that with the fact that this is also part 1. So
too much.
I would agree that maybe this storyline is like too much for a Mission Impossible movie.
The initial AI discussion when they're talking to like the CIA guy and the head of the IMF, and it turns out Ethan Hunt's in the room. You know that sequence?
COVID shoot, like it was all like close-ups and
it was all like close-ups and fucking Dutch angles and stuff. And I'm like, first of all, cut that shit out. Stop using Dutch angles. Way too many Dutch angles in this movie. I about got up and walked out. I was so pissed about the Dutch angles.
Well, it was lockdown shoot. Like this movie was shot like mid-COVID, like right when the lockdowns happened. So I think they were like, well, what are we gonna do? We could do all close-ups.
Here's what you do.
Yeah.
There you go. Now it's fixed. Stop using Dutch angles every 5 seconds. Second, too long. I would have cut out that conversation about the AI. I probably would have cut it in half, probably, and had it just fly by a little bit quicker, where they just quickly explain what it is. They're like, oh, we lost it. Well, okay, here we go. Boom, done. Gas, Ethan Hunt, out, credits. Opening title crawl, right? Like it's too long. The chase scene in France was too long. When the car chase went on way too long. Again, I probably would have cut that by a third, maybe even a half.
Oh,
Like,
hell
too
no.
long.
Hard
long.
disagree. Hard
Too
disagree.
long. Way too long.
Uh-uh.
I just kept
I
being
could
like,
watch...
is it over? Is it over? Is it over? Is it over? And I'm like,
What?
I was not.
How are you not
amused.
entertained by that car scene chase?
I was entertained by it when it was like a short little car chase, and then it kept going on and on and on, and I was like, okay,
I don't know, man. I don't understand that, because to me that was like one of the best car chases I've ever seen in any movie, period. Maybe Death Proof might top it, but from a technical standpoint and from a cinematic standpoint, it's actually fucking unreal what, like, some of the shit that they were doing and how long it went. It just kept getting better and better. I like long scenes. I think the Kill Bill Crazy 88 scene is extremely long, which makes it way better. I think a lot of martial arts films, when they have really lengthy, like, drawn out fight scenes, are some of the better ones. Or scenes where action scenes where there's like multiple parts to a fight. John Wick does this a lot. There's like the whole opening to John Wick 4 is like, what, 20 minutes, like the whole Asian, Tokyo Continental scene.
Like that,
the longer the better, like, especially when it's really high quality action, choreography, especially car chases. I don't understand why people want to make it shorter. I don't know, man.
It's about brevity.
Yeah.
Brevity is the soul of wit, and you don't need to constantly. I don't know. It's like it was ramped up and then it kind of leveled out, and I was like, okay, well, now that it's leveled out, we can stop now. And then it continued on for like another 3 minutes, I think, and I was like,
it was a long chase.
Too long.
And they kept switching it up though. Then they got in the buggy. It was hilarious.
That was a good joke.
Yeah.
And I liked the stuff with the buggy a little bit, but then there was just too much of the buggy. Like,
I'll take way more of it. I'll take more. I couldn't possibly disagree more on that one.
Yeah.
Not long after the scene with the buggy is the scene that I found most egregious, and I think, are we doing spoilers for Mission Impossible?
Full spoilers.
I think we're gonna start spoiling it. Just FYI. A World of Paradise. You got to get going. Nice. Thanks for joining and hanging out.
Take it easy, man.
You can never have too much buggy. Matrix lobby scene. Look, that scene is amazing. It's sort of shorter than that's well,
an action
he's
scene.
Probably combining it with the rooftop scene right after that, which is that whole part's incredible. Yeah, I agree. But yeah, what were you gonna say? What was somebody? Oh, spoiler.
Yeah, like
spoiler review. We're doing it. Yeah.
What they do to Ilsa in that script, I think, was a terrible mistake.
Yeah, can we talk about that for like 20 minutes?
It was a pretty big deal breaker. I'm like, okay, this is not one of the good Mission Impossibles.
No, it's not. Yeah, that's when the movie really lost me, because like she's kind of like she's been a mainstay in like since, what was it, Rogue Nation? Yeah. So I kind of got used to seeing her kind of like as a co-lead, and killing her off, I was like, I'm gonna be honest, I don't vibe with this, and I'm not.
It was done poorly too, because it really felt like a trade-off. It was like, okay, well,
here's a new girl
to be the potential love interest character, so I guess we got to get rid of Ilsa. I'm like, why? What? Just have Haley Atwell be his sexy new protege, and who he doesn't do anything with, he doesn't have any romantic connection with.
Yeah.
And Ilsa be the one that he ends up with, because the end of Fallout, one of the ones that I said, was a very well written movie,
probably the best one out of the franchise. Honestly,
the whole thing that happens with it is like Luther has that conversation with Michelle Monaghan's character, and he's like, Ethan's only ever. Oh no, wait, who does he have it with? He has it with Ilsa, I think, actually. I forget. But anyways, he says that like Ethan's only ever loved 2 women, one of them being a person that he tried to leave the life with, and then every time something bad would happen on the news, she'd look at him and he'd be thinking, "Oh, if I was out there, maybe I could have stopped that." So he just couldn't be with a normal civilian. And that's why he ended up leaving, especially after like what happened in Mission Impossible 3. And because of this scene or like the implied scene where he decides, okay, I've got to go back to work for the IMF, and you've got to let me go. And then he says like, oh, I think Elsa or something says to him like, who's the other woman? And then I don't think he flat out says it, but he kind of implies it's you. And so I'm just like, and what kills me though is Christopher McQuarrie wrote both. So I'm like, what?
Yeah. Maybe he just kind of forgot about the other movies he fucking wrote.
Or
Because like for me, it was fairly obvious that like
people really won't see coming.
Yeah, I guess it was just like subvert expectations, I guess. Like, ooh,
No, I think they killed her because of the AI storyline. So the AI is supposed to be this all-knowing thing that is threatening, and it set up this thing so the AI knows what's going to happen, and the AI predicts that one of them is going to die. And if they didn't kill anyone off, then the AI would be a weak sort of villain, wouldn't it?
I would have.
You don't have to present that scenario in the.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna
AI that knows everything before it's gonna happen is kind of retarded. Like,
it is very boring. Yeah, it is very boring.
That's what I didn't like about the movie. Yeah. Do you think that she maybe didn't want to do any more Mission Impossible movies? Maybe they had to write her off.
I don't know.
For some reason.
I don't know. Because here's the thing, like, she's a lot more competent than Haley Atwell, and like in terms of like story wise, like
she's
I don't
really
know.
Good in Dune. She's so good in Dune.
Part of the she's so good in Dune, but like part of the reason why I also didn't like aspects of the chase scene is that because it was Haley Atwell, and I was just a little bit like I just didn't like her character. And that was also part of the reason why I wanted that fucking chase scene to end, because I was like, if this was him with Elsa. Honestly, here's the thing: if it was him and Elsa, I actually probably would agree with you, Lofty. I would be like, that was a lot of fun. But with Haley Atwell, I was like, fucking kill yourself! Oh my god! Fucking
I don't like
die.
how she was stupid the whole movie.
Yeah,
she kept
she was so stupid.
She kept like they were in a good situation, like they were together, and then he was protecting her.
Yeah.
And like 5 times she like kicked him in the nuts, metaphorically, and just like left and then ran away, and then she's
kind of one of those,
and then it happened over and over and over again. She never listened to a thing he said until the very end of the movie.
Yeah, she's kind of one of those characters that is annoying, but in a bad way, where like they don't improve and they don't get better until it's way too late, and decisions. You're like, I don't like you.
Yeah, they make stupid decisions.
Yeah.
Well, I think the idea is though that this whole thing was supposed to be, or her story was supposed to be an IMF agent origin story.
Yeah.
And I think the idea was that it took her a while to get on board, but by the end of the movie, she does. The problem is like killing Elsa, who's like a character who I like. I was just like, oh man, why? Like, because now I like Grace a little bit less. I didn't hate Grace. Yeah, see, Rocky's really upset about her, or I don't know.
Rocky's pissed too.
Well, I mean, Haley Atwell is a beautiful woman, so it's difficult for him to be upset about her being in a film.
Yeah. It's just I don't know. I thought the structure of this movie was a little bit whack, and I thought some of the scenes went on too long. And I think honestly, Lofty, going back to that chase scene, I think it might be, now that I'm really thinking about it, I think it might have been Haley Atwell, because I'm really thinking about that chase scene, and I'm going to be honest with you. I think I don't think we even would have had that debate if it was Elsa. I think if it was Rebecca Ferg, I think if it was her, I don't think I would have complained. Huh.
Yeah, because like look at John Wick. There's a lot of really long, drawn out action scenes in those movies, and nobody cares because he's so entertaining.
Yeah.
Maybe it was her. Maybe it was a combination of the fact that they were doing that back and forth thing in the car, and it wasn't maybe I thought the goofiness of it made it more entertaining for me, but maybe some people would prefer a more serious.
I thought it was less entertaining. I hated it. I did not like Haley Atwell
Yeah.
as a character. She's fine as an actress, and her character was it was fine, I guess. But like, agree, based, fucking based,
hot,
AM, based.
She's like, I called her a MILF on the way home from the theater, and my brother's like, she's what the fuck? She's like not that old. I'm like, well, she's technically 40. You know, she's like almost 40. She's super fucking hot. She could have a kid that's like 20, you know, if she wanted to.
Based.
But she's amazing. Look, it's funny because in Dune, in this movie, she's like typecast as like a desert action hero and like dust storms.
Yeah. Dust storms.
She's stuck in the desert. She probably got the script and she was like, "Oh fuck, I have to go to Morocco." Yeah.
God damn it. Yeah. I just I think it was a big mistake because we're trading a character that we've known for multiple movies for a character that we don't really know all that well. And honestly, I think just not having Haley Atwell in the movie at all, and it's just Rebecca Ferguson. It's just her, Elsa.
Yeah.
It's just her the entire time. The movie would have been a lot better. Because it would have been more condensed because we would have had the scenes cut of her IMF origin story. So all that dialogue would have been cut, meaning the movie would have been a bit more streamlined, meaning that it wouldn't have been quite as long, which means that I think more people might have seen it. I think it would have been greatly improved by not having Haley Atwell in the movie at all.
Yeah.
And just having Fisher's character. And I think just having Rebecca Ferguson through the whole thing. Much better.
I want to say, I think maybe relatively shortly we'll wrap up here.
Yeah.
But I did want to ask you guys about this, like the future of like action genres. Like, do you think the decline of like the box office, it's okay. It's like Mission Impossible. It's not doing that great.
Yeah.
John Wick did pretty good this year.
It was the highest of the franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
James Bond is getting rebooted. I'm wondering, like, I don't know, are you guys satisfied with like kind of action movies now? Like, or should we have more of them? Should we have like, I remember do you remember back in like the 2000s, like late 2000s, there was like just action movies all over the place. There's just too many of them.
It's too many. Yeah.
I like Wick, like John Wick, what it's doing. I don't know what the hell to expect for James Bond. Like who do you want to see as James Bond?
Ooh, that's a good question. Here's the thing, because like there's a few different options we could go for.
Yeah.
Here, if we want to do like a younger James Bond, I think we might. I would be interested to see what Alden Ehrenreich would bring to it.
That's an interesting.
I like him.
Agamemnon. We talked about that. You thought it was more entertaining than Oppenheimer of Sound of Freedom. I like all of those movies. I don't have a problem. I like Oppenheimer. I was glued to the screen the whole time.
I liked Oppenheimer better. Yeah,
Freedom, but I don't know that I'd call it entertaining. That's not really. Yeah. Not really the right word.
I haven't actually seen that yet. But I feel bad saying it. I haven't had time to do almost anything, guys. But I will watch it eventually.
Yeah. I preferred Oppenheimer over Mission Impossible, just because, again, I think it was a little too long. Some of the scenes were a little bloated. Some of the scenes were just not as entertaining as I thought they could be. I think killing Elsa Fisher was a mistake. I didn't like Haley Atwell, but maybe part 2 will be really good. Although I will say the AI, boring. It should have been more of like what's the name of the AI from System Shock?
Oh boy, I don't know.
That's what the AI should have been in this movie. I think it would have been a lot more interesting. Because if you don't know, in System Shock, the AI, if I remember correctly, the AI is somewhat insulting and degrading, and it is very cold, and it's very much kind of like it's very closer to AM from I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream.
So what you do at the beginning of, or at least the remakes, what I'd been playing, but you're a hacker who gets basically arrested by the feds or some kind of corporate police,
Space feds.
and you're told that what you have to do in order to like get yourself off the hook is hack this AI and basically remove its limiter and let it just kind of grow and become
But
that.
like HAL 2000 or HAL 9000.
Yeah. So you do that at the beginning of the game, and then the AI basically just fucks up the entire space station that you're on, and yeah, and then it's Bioshock from there on out. Just
that's fun. But back to Alden Ehrenreich. I like him
As
I
a
don't
young
know if
James
he-
Bond.
I don't know, man. Maybe, but
'Cause
I
it
think
depends.
he's.
Are we doing young James Bond or are we doing more grizzled veteran James Bond? Because
Well,
then we
I
got
think-
different options.
I think younger is what they kind of said, if I remember. What do you think of? What do you? Yeah. What the fuck is his name? Richard Madden. What do you guys think of him?
Okay.
I don't know, like a pretty James Bond. I don't know that that's the best call. Like I think making it like an older British dude, like not an old man, but you know that like Pierce Brosnan in Goldeneye is kind of like the target. I think that you should go for first
Okay.
Bond movie.
How about Tom
I mean-
Hiddleston? No,
Nah.
No.
Pierce Brosnan is also a pretty boy, so
he was.
I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, it could be the guy that just got cast as Superman, the dude in Pearl, like the projection.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Well, Cavill could do it.
Cavill, you could argue, might be getting a little bit old. Like he's
a little.
he's entering the later James Bond movie
Sure.
age.
And he's gonna be busy with Warhammer 40K for like the next 10 years. So
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. An Amazon show, like I mean, if he's not going to be directly writing it, like if it's going to be writers and he's just gonna have editing powers
do.
and like, be able to say to give them notes, I don't think that's actually gonna functionally take up that much of his time. But
Depends.
he wants to act in it too, though.
Yeah,
He's a producer and he also wants to play a character.
yeah, no, but well, I mean, the producing is the part that he's hardly going to have to do anything for. He's going to tell people what they want, and people will be paid to try to get that done for him. Like I really think Cavill is going to be the guy in the writer's room, like writing the first drafts, things like that. Right?
What about Cillian Murphy?
Bond? I mean, you know, it's pretty good.
He's pretty good. He's got that Pierce Brosnan sort of vibe going a little bit.
Yeah.
Younger. Yeah.
Because if we want grizzled old Bond, we could what's his name, like Idris Elba or somebody like more like an older kind of like
Elliot
older
Page.
dude.
I know, like I mean, I'm much more on board with that. I think James Bond should look like James Bond is like described in the books and the way James Bond's looked for years. So like I honestly I thought Daniel Craig was almost a bit too far. It's like blonde hair. Come on.
Right. How old was Connery when he was doing Bond?
I have no idea, but that was his first movie or close to it.
That's a good movie, Agamemnon, Wally.
Oh yeah, Wally. That's a Criterion release now.
I want to watch it again.
I need to. Yeah.
But Bond, yikes, man. I don't
No.
know. I hope they do well. Yeah, I don't know what. I guess we're wrapping up with Mission Impossible. I don't know.
Yeah.
They shouldn't go for
6
more
out of
than-
10, maybe. I don't know. 7 out of 10.
Oh no, I meant like the franchise should wrap.
Oh, the franchise I think should wrap up. I think Dead Reckoning Part 2 should be the last one.
Isn't that the plan? I thought it was.
It should be. I think it
didn't
is.
know.
It should be. Yeah. But
I
don't know. I don't like the idea of James Bond being a reboot. I think making it a sequel could be interesting, especially if we make James Bond and like 007 more of like a title. That could be an interesting way to take the franchise because then you could do more stuff with it.
No, I'm going hard no on that. Fuck it.
Yeah, because
Don't even functionally reboot. Just do it the way you did. They did it for like 40 years. Just new guy playing the part. The previous mission has next to no connection to the next one, and it's just always Bond. There's always there's always a few.
do you want modern day Bond or do you want to do a throwback Bond?
That's the other thing is you could do throwback.
Be an interesting way to do it too. But I mean, regardless, I think the best way to do it is just to keep have it be pulp,
Mantle,
right?
Batman.
Like, it's spy novels. It's like there's just going to be more James Bond. You don't have to read 20 Hardy Boys books to read the 21st one. You know, it's just hey, the Hardy Boys are on a new adventure. I'll bet there's a mystery involved.
Yeah,
James Bond is the same thing, just spies.
You know, it's a shame he's like, I don't know. I don't know where he's at right now. I think he's not really acting too much anymore. But like, John Boyega could be an interesting like dark horse clutch pick because he's also British.
Daniel Kaluuya could do it.
Daniel Kaluuya, Daniel Kaluuya.
I'm telling you, that'd be a problem. Then the whole conversation is about, oh my god, all these racists are pissed about Black Bond.
I know, right?
It's just like, just don't, man. Just
but
make
if he's good,
Bond.
But if he's good, then they shouldn't be pissed, right? Like if it's Idris Elba and he's really good.
Maybe not, because again, like at a certain point, it's like, well, what if Bond is just a title? What if it's just a man? What if he doesn't have to be British? What if he doesn't have to be a spy? What if this James Bond is a Colombian drug lord? It's like, well, that's my vision. It's like, okay, or just make it James Bond, you know?
Well, I think, well, here's the problem though, Lofty. I guess in terms of like, it could be good, but you run into the problem of like, but if you grifters got to still make their money. So like it's still got to be bad. Like the quartering, for example, he's gonna have to be like it's the most terrible thing ever. Blah 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 blah.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it depends on because Dune has race swaps, and there's some people that were upset about it, but it seemed to fly under the radar.
Kind of a different deal when it's the main character though, who is going to be like James Bond. If people say James Bond movies, no one says Paul Atreides books.
Yeah. That's true.
I think it's a bit of a different deal when it's like James Bond, Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, like big characters like that people can picture them in their head when they think of them, or picture the type of person that they.
Well, Peter Parker would be, because there's a lot of Spider-Man, but for some reason people hate Miles.
Which is crazy.
No, I mean, I think that's a misunderstanding of that argument. The argument is the argument that Gary makes with his things that he says, I can always just get a million dislikes. Or like a million angry people by just saying Miles is Miles Morales. The point there is that because they didn't make Miles his own character and they decided to just call him Spider-Man, even Marvel will always just refer to him as Miles Morales. You know, like there's almost, I mean, what is his PS4 spinoff called?
Right. Miles Morales, Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, even across the Spider-Verse, that's like a big plot point that it's like, you're not one of us. You're not one of the real Spider-Man. So it's like, well, I mean, Miles is in a bit of a weird spot in that regard. But I think if you like, granted though, I think Miles did it right in that it is, you know, it's a new character. It is Miles Morales. He's a different guy than Peter Parker. I think that's a different proposition than being like, yeah, Peter Parker's Asian now. Fuck you, racist. Like, it's like,
right.
And just stop.
Right.
Just make an Asian superhero if you want. Or like, hey, look at all the Asian, look at all the manga, and then just make one of those if you really, really want to make Asian superhero so badly. You know, like I don't know. I mean, granted, if you did and made it good, think of how much money you could make on a Demon Slayer movie with the popularity of Demon Slayer. If you did that well, and you made an Americanized remake of Demon Slayer as a series of movies and just cast Asian actors in it, but had them speaking English. I mean,
what do you think of One Piece?
With that? It's not like there's not diverse superheroes out there or stories that are similar enough. So I kind of just don't. I don't know. I find it unnecessary, and I think that, for example, for Little Mermaid that we were talking about earlier, I think that was most unfair to that Halle Berry girl or whatever her name. I know it's not Halle Berry, but it's close. I keep forgetting it. Haley. But anyways, I think it was unfair to her because now she's like, well, I got cast to be a Disney princess, but it's the ginger and I'm black, and that's kind of a meme of gingers getting recast with black people, and now I'm having to deal with all this shit when realistically Disney like kind of put me in this position.
Well, yeah, and also they kind of throw them out
any other role. But
Yeah, well, and also Disney and a lot of these other companies, I mean, they do throw them out and just like, all right, deal with it. They don't
Yeah, they put them in the
really
press
do
first.
anything.
yeah, all these racists are already attacking this person. We're like, we don't like nothing's happened yet.
Well, look at the new Snow White, right? She is putting herself out there.
Well,
I don't have
and
any sympathy or I don't have any. I don't give a fuck
no,
about her.
as well, man. They're putting her and Gal Gadot on press tours where they're doing interviews where she's like, yeah, you know, it was really important for us that
It's amazing.
it's not Snow White's story where she's waiting for the prince to kiss her. It's like, oh my god, you guys are you're just
they're fucked.
you want people to hate this movie foot like in
they
the
do.
marquee marketing. It's like it's not us doing that. That's you guys putting it out there on your press tour.
Yeah, it's so stupid when you say, because look how there was another movie that a reboot or a remake that they were praising the original. I'm trying to remember what it was. Fuck. But this one they're shitting on the original, calling it a problematic movie. You know, the Snow White was told so long ago when at a time when everyone was sexist and racist. But that's not even true. I mean, it's a timeless classic. It's Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, and the story should just be not a problem. Like no one should have a problem with it.
Yeah.
Well, if you're an iconoclast, the word timeless doesn't exist, and all the relics of the past just need to be destroyed to make way for the future. So there's the humor take.
The thing about superhero stuff in general that is it does give it a bit of an advantage though, because the thing with different Earths has when DC and Marvel started doing that was the big boom. That was the big one, because you could be like, oh well, here this is Spider-Man of Earth, blah 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 blah. So like that was how Miles was introduced, I believe. He's the Spider-Man of Earth something, I can't remember, 23 or something, whatever. And it's a shame because they often don't do that. Spider-Verse is one of the ones that actually did that and like really tapped into the idea of like different Spider-Men and like different Earths. And it's a shame because they were gonna reboot Superman and they announced the casting and it was a black guy, and I was like, oh hell yeah, this is gonna be awesome, because I thought what they were gonna do is it Earth 12? Fuck. So anyway, so someone wrote a story because they thought it would be kind of funny, where like, what if Superman wasn't a newspaper guy? What if he was the president? So he based the idea of like, what if someone like Barack Obama was Superman? That's a hilarious idea, because he's got to like fly into the Oval Office and like quickly change his clothes and be like, oh fucking hell, the Secretary of State's gonna be here in 5 minutes. And like he sits down, he's like, hello, Secretary of State Stephen.
Doing that as a comic book is one thing, but doing that as a big budget movie, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Maybe an animated movie, movie or something.
That's a lot of fun. Yeah. So like that would have been that, because that's a unique, interesting little take on the character. And instead they were like, oh, he's just Clark Kent. And I'm like, you had the Superman right there. You could have had fun hijinks with him and like the Capitol building, and like Lex Luthor's up to some shit. And he's like, he's like, oh, but I got a meeting with I got to give the State of the Union address. And like, that's fun. That's Superman is supposed to be fun. Like he's supposed to be a fun character, and just make he's Clark Kent again. And I'm like, that's not interesting at all.
You have to know that if you make Superman Barack Obama in a big Hollywood movie, is gonna piss off half the country. And they're not gonna care if it's fun. They're just gonna be like, "Wait,
if it's a
but he's his own character. He's his own character. It was started as like a joke idea, and then someone said, "Huh, what if we wrote that though?" And then it became like its own thing. So it started as like a little thing, like, wouldn't that be weird? And they were like,
"Are you not making the argument though that they should make that into a like the marquee Superman movie?" Because that's the part where I'm like, "Wait, no, that's a terrible idea."
Yeah, we want Clark Kent.
No, they said they were going to be rebooting it. And then, avoid Secret Service hijinks. Yeah, that'd be great. They were talking about rebooting Superman before James Gunn took over, and they were like, they cast a young black guy. And my first thought,
wait, what actor are you talking about?
I can't remember his name.
There wasn't an actor cast. So what you are talking about it's very good that did not happen because that was written by Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Oh, that's the Ta-Nehisi Coates Superman.
Was being produced by J.J. Abrams, who's destroyed everything he's ever touched at this point. So
I'm not saying I wanted it. What I'm saying is that.
Well, but you're saying that was the better idea than them doing like, hey, here's a Superman where we're going back.
He's just saying that.
What I'm saying is they missed the opportunity, Mark. What I'm saying is that they chose the most boring and generic thing they could have done. Well, because they were like, "Oh, we're gonna reboot it, and it's Clark Kent again."
Kyle,
you didn't go Flash though, correct?
Huh?
Yeah.
Because Flash is exactly what you're talking about. It's wild, zany, crazy, doesn't make any sense. It looks like all cartoony and weird. There's scenes where there's like 20 babies falling out of a hospital, and Flash is like looking at scalpels coming right towards them in slow motion, and you think he's going to save them, but then he grabs hot dogs out of the air and starts eating them. It's wild, zany, crazy shit, and it's fucking horrible.
Look. I think what Kyle's trying to say is, what Spider-Man did with Miles Morales movie is maybe we could have an alternate Superman and a normal Superman at the same time. Is that kind of what you're maybe thinking?
We could have. What I'm saying is that if you're going to try to reboot or change Superman, and don't just be like, okay, what if we did a black Superman? Oh, but he's Clark Kent again. And I'm like, no, don't do Clark Kent again.
Most Superman fans will stop you and be like, wait, why are we changing Superman?
Yeah, here's the problem.
That's not a comic book fan. That's a normie.
No. AJ, I think you're way off on this, man.
People who know about comic books know about the Superman I'm talking about because they actually know their shit. They know exactly who I'm talking about.
But comic book fans want Clark Kent.
Yeah, exactly.
Represented.
You got to talk to more comic fans, man. Like the big two, like the people that are really into things. Like Superman or Batman, like they really don't. They don't like, for the most part, don't like the concept of the mantle.
I think Spider-Man works in a weird way because of the mask and because of the Ultimate Universe being sort of successful, and then like there's so many different uniforms that he's worn over the years, and Spider-Man just kind of works as like a different person becoming Spider-Man. For me, I don't care, but I love Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah,
but I don't want Peter Parker necessarily to ever just like be thrown under the rug and like just forgotten about, because I always want there to be a Peter Parker Spider-Man somewhere.
Well, yeah, I mean that's not what I'm saying at all. But yeah, whatever.
And Clark Kent, I don't know. Oh no, sorry, the Ta-Nehisi Coates one you were talking about. Ta-Nehisi Coates is the guy who wrote that Captain America Jordan Peterson Red Skull comic.
Yeah,
which was so politically fucking left-leaning, basically commie bullshit.
Yeah, I saw something about that, and I was just like,
J.J. Abrams like blind hired him to write Superman. He's like, oh, he wrote that. He's been writing Captain America. He's a black guy. The New York Times. Okay, cool.
I kind of hate J.J. Abrams, to be honest with you. I really don't like J.J. Abrams at all, but that's a whole other conversation.
He started out. I mean, I love Fringe. And I don't hate Super 8. I don't hate Cloverfield. I like Cloverfield.
That
was actually Cloverfield's good. Yeah, Cloverfield's good.
Creative guy, but he is not prepared for the amount of power he's been given, and he thinks that he is. That's the danger. Like, it's not like he's just, hey, I really can't be responsible for all these mega franchises. I can take a step aside.
Yeah.
His whole thing is like, everything I make is great. Whatever. I mean, Star Wars, that didn't go great. I guess, I really can't get 3 movies into one of these things that I reinvent without it all crumbling. But people still hire me, I guess.
Yeah. JJ.
Yeah. But I think the movie I was talking about earlier, I couldn't remember. It was Pinocchio. And Guillermo del Toro.
Oh, del Toro. Okay.
Compared to the Little Mermaid actress, who was also shitting on the original Little Mermaid, and then now the Snow White actress is saying the original is problematic. Del Toro was saying the opposite. He was saying that the original Pinocchio is a masterpiece, and it's one of the best animated films of all time, and he respects it and loves watching it. And you can kind of tell with his version of it that he's like paying homage to it. He's doing his own thing with it, but he doesn't fucking hate the old racist Pinocchio movie. Like, he didn't say anything about that.
Yeah.
You know, that's somebody who, and like, look, I'm sure Del Toro is probably not base, but I'm sure he's kind of like pretty chill when it comes, because he's a big H.P. Lovecraft fan. I've never heard him talk about how H.P. Lovecraft was racist. I never heard. He just doesn't come across like as like a douchebag, you know, some of these other people. Like, you know what I mean? He's a fan. He's kind of like me. He's a fan.
Del Toro is definitely kind of one of those like art guys. Like, he likes the
he's
art.
A fan. Like
he
Tarantino.
Likes the art form. Yeah.
Like Tarantino's the same way. They I don't know where that came from. Oh, I just wanted to remember what that was. But that was Pinocchio.
I think Bong Joon-ho is that way too. I thought some of these guys, I think they just love the art form. They just love the art. They just love it. And,
look, I hope I guess we're wrapping up. But just to get back on the box office quick, before we do chat. The original Pinocchio is great. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. That was a great time for Disney.
Coates wrote the first responders. They were not human, black, white, or whatever. They were menaces of nature. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
I wanted to say there's 2 films coming out called, one of them is called The Creator, the other one's called Rebel Moon. Zack Snyder's movie on Netflix.
Yep.
I think that's an interesting. I think the conversation should be around these 2 movies is, if they're good, then we should start considering. What I'm trying to say is, I think we all agree that we're tired of reboots and remakes and sequels, so many of them.
Yeah.
So this is kind of what we've been asking for, and they're kind of giving it to us. Like, 2 unique, big budget science fiction epics are coming out this fall, both of them.
Yeah.
So if you guys don't, if we don't support these movies, even if they're terrible, that's fine. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But if they're really good, like, fucking go to the movie theater and watch them, because I want Hollywood to be like, oh, we tripled our profits on this one. Let's give Alex Garland his big sci-fi movie, or somebody, Jordan Peele. Let's give Jordan Peele more money. Let's give Ari Aster and Robert Eggers. Let's give Robert Eggers 200 million or 150 million. Let's give you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want more of this, like, Hollywood being like, oh, let's be a little risky. We don't need to do sequels. We don't need to put Star Wars in front of something to sell it. You know?
Yeah.
We can just call it Rebel Moon or The Creator if they do well.
And I think that it really is going to come down to just some of these movies. It's going to come down to word of mouth. You know?
Yeah.
If the word of mouth is strong, I think the movie will perform somewhat admirably. The thing is, though, I think that's why Dead Reckoning is not doing as well as Fallout, because I think the word of mouth is kind of like the discussion we were having tonight, where it's back and forth. We're not agreeing. We're agreeing here. We're not agreeing there, and it's like,
I don't want to agree with everybody. I almost
True.
don't want to agree with anybody on most things, but that's just me being a contrarian. But no, I genuinely think
it's healthy.
It's healthy to have fans of something, and then some people who don't like that thing, and then maybe they're both right, in their own way. Maybe it's possible somebody misinterpreted a movie. Maybe it's possible somebody was in a bad mood when they saw a movie. Maybe there's 2 interpretations to take away from a movie that can be, there's all these disagreement is not, it's not just like, you're right, I'm wrong. There's all kinds of different things that could be going on. Also taste, like, some people just don't want to watch a horror movies, or some people might not like martial arts movies. They might think they're dumb. Some people, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of martial arts movies are stupid. Like, the storylines, they're kind of stupid.
Yeah, it's half the fun, honestly. Sometimes it's like, he stole the what and the who now.
But I like that about them. And
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
why I had a big
That's fine.
disagreement with Mahler, because Mahler's like, oh, John Wick's just a stupid movie. John Wick is just silly action the whole time. And I'm like, yeah, but that's why I like those kinds of movies. And some people,
Well,
you know, I don't know.
I mean, so
But
the thing about John Wick is John Wick started the John Wick 1 is kind of a different franchise than the rest
yeah,
of the series
yeah,
because John Wick 2 made a critical error, and that was introducing the bulletproof tuxedo. And now everyone's got bulletproof
I know.
tuxedos. And now by John Wick 4, they're fucking vibranium because they make them Iron Man. Like it's like
Yeah.
it was the first one they were really focused on well choreographed action that has logic to it. And it's like, oh, like real special forces soldiers could be like, oh man, no, this guy's doing the stuff that we would do if we were fighting that many opponents, which most people get fatigued after like 2 max.
Yeah, so some people are gonna vibe with that first one, which cool, but yeah, you just stop watching John Wick movies then, because I like the new one. So if you're gonna complain about all of them, like just don't watch them. Like I don't understand.
Well, but I mean, because I would also argue with that too, because it's like, yeah, I mean, the action kind of is worth watching, but that doesn't mean that the problems with the movie, which were not always there, so it is something that they introduced voluntarily when they decided to make it a franchise.
Yeah.
And I think that with each subsequent John Wick movie, you have to disconnect further and further and further from how this world actually functions in order to accept it as something that you can watch and have fun with. And I think that that's a shame, because I think the first movie set up a pretty interesting world that it would have been nice if they just decided to develop gradually and maybe didn't necessarily make it so that every single movie takes place immediately where the last one left off, and John Wick's been on the run for 3 movies straight at this point. So like that. I mean, or even 4 movies, because you could argue it was kind of on the
I'm just saying people have different tolerances for different styles of movies. Like to me, it's more the fourth one is the best, and they've gotten progressively better in my opinion. The first one's fun, it's just nowhere near as entertaining as the last one, like in my opinion. Now some people like I would
wholeheartedly
the fourth one was the biggest grossing one at the box office anyway.
Yeah.
I think John Wick is the best, and it's not close. Like and I like them all. I enjoy them all, like, because I can disconnect for those movies. But ever since John Wick 2, it's always been sad for me to have to, because I'm like, okay, well, now it's a John Wick sequel movie, therefore I'm going to watch basically a stunt show because it's a bunch of stuntmen doing good shit that shot well, which you know, it has value. It's not that I don't enjoy that, but it's like, well, I mean, I wouldn't argue against the people that are saying, yeah, but these story mechanics are just like nonsensical. It's like, well, I mean, he's right. It's like, just how much do I weigh that personally? And for me, I think I would weigh that definitely significantly enough that I'd agree with them, but also not significantly enough that I won't go see the next John Wick property.
Well, the first one's probably my favorite. I think the first one is just the best overall, but I also agree. I agree with you, Marc. I mean, I like the first one the best, but I like the series. It's fine. And the fourth one, you know, hey, it did gross the highest at the box. So hey.
Well, yeah, that's not. But Dune, I had this conversation about Dune with Dune also. People, oh, wait, was it Dune? I don't know. The fuck was it? Was it Dune? Yeah, some people thought. I think it's the same thing where some people thought, I can't remember what I was going to say with Dune, but just 2 different perspectives, I think. Oh, some people thought it was just a boring movie, and then other people, you know, Avatar has this is the best example of this. But the point is differences of this is what I was going to say. I told everybody to go watch Dune Part 2 in theaters to support, you know, movies that are not, you know, a bloated budget conveyor belt, like normie stuff.
Yeah.
And then people were like, a lot of people agree with me. They're like, yeah, we gotta, this is a good idea, right? And then some people pushed back and they were like, I don't like Dune very much. And I was like, Well, what I was saying was a generalization, which is, if you like Dune, if you like sci-fi movies, even if you thought Dune was okay, maybe go see part 2 in theater anyway. If you didn't like it, don't see it. I'm saying, but do that with another movie instead, like support Oppenheimer, or support the creator, or support Killers of the Flower Moon, or support Talk to Me, which is the new horror movie that's getting really rave reviews. But the whole point I was trying to make is, I wasn't saying go see Dune only. I'm saying go support movies in theaters so that we can send the proper message to Hollywood. If you hate watch stuff, that's a bad message to send. Don't go to the fucking theater to watch Flash just so you can, unless you're a content creator, like maybe don't do it. You can if you want. If you really want to see Flash, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying if you think it looks like shit, don't go.
What you're saying, Lofty, is exactly why I am not a content creator on the regular, because I watch the trailers, and if the trailers look like shit, I say nope, and I just don't go see it. So like, and what's funny is, to the point where, in terms of superhero stuff, I didn't see Guardians 3. I still haven't seen it.
Well,
I just didn't feel like it. I just didn't feel like it. I was so exhausted with superhero stuff. Even the good ones, I'm just like, I can't. I'm sorry.
I saw Guardians in
I'm
theaters
exhausted
because I will say I saw it because I when it comes to Marvel, I have this stupid thing, like people do this with voting too, like my vote matters. Woohoo. It really kind of doesn't. But
no, it doesn't.
If you have this like mindset of I think you should vote, still. But if you have this like principled mindset, if everybody had it, right? If everybody said, I'm going to support the good movies and not the bad ones, I think we would see it. We're kind of seeing it now anyway, with Indy collapsing, with the Flash collapsing. But with Guardians, I thought, okay, I don't like what the MCU is doing, but I like Guardians, and I like sort of what James Gunn has done a little bit. I think it's a good message to send to Hollywood that like we'll support certain things if they're done well, even in the MCU. Like if Sam Raimi came out and had full control of Multiverse of Madness, and it was way better, right?
I think it would have been,
I think that some people would be like, I don't care. MCU's trash. I ain't gonna support none of that shit. I'd be like, come on, can we at least acknowledge that that a movie like that making a lot of money at the box office would be a good thing, so that Marvel will eventually like maybe start to realize, if we hire Sam Raimi or Edgar Wright or some competent directors, make more money. Like
that was the problem with the original Ant-Man, is because they hired Wright and they thought, we're like, this has too much personality, and then they fired him.
So
this is too much personality. All the best parts of that movie, I guarantee you 100%, that was something that Edgar Wright did. Like 100%. Like the Baskin Robbins thing, the cut gag with the toy train, all that good stuff, anything good in that movie was Edgar Wright 100%.
Sure.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's just a little, like, I yell about this constantly because I don't think enough content creators are even talking about this.
No.
And the other day, like yesterday or the day before I was like, I'm going to watch some streams today, because like I'll do that a couple times a week. I'll just watch random streams. And I popped into like 3 streams, and they were all of them were talking about Secret Invasion. All of them. And I was like, and they were all saying it sucks. And just for hours and hours and hours and hours. And I'm like, guys,
quality content.
What are we doing? Like, what are we doing, really?
Yeah.
Because if you have one show that's talking about Secret Invasion, that's good for them. Somebody's got to talk about it, but not every show. Every fucking stream. Holy fuck!
I gotta push back on that a bit, because you can't base your content, the content that you make and what you talk about on your streams, using how many other people on YouTube are talking about it as a metric, because you're never going to be able to talk about anything. So, I mean, I think the channel is, I don't know who exactly you're watching, but if they're talking about Secret Invasion and talking about how shitty it is, I'm guessing they are the type of channel where people who did like MCU and genre fiction, mainstream genre fiction stuff, but are not super happy about the way that things have been going lately, can go to streams like that and see what it is exactly other people are noticing about why it's bad.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who watch movies and watch TV shows that they know, like, oh man, this thing sucks, but they don't really have the ability to process, like, why did I not like that? If I like Samuel Jackson, I like Nick Fury, I like Marvel, therefore Secret Invasion, good. A lot of people will process whether or not they want to go see a movie on factors like that, but they want to know.
Marvel's been bad for years. Like, I don't know what. We're still treating it like they just put out the first bad thing they've ever put out.
No, but who's the we though? Because that's the thing. It's like
this community. Because like the community I'm referring to is like all these different online streaming, nerd quote unquote nerd communities.
Yeah, I know.
All they are is pop culture.
I should clarify when I said who, I was that was rhetorical. But because what I was trying to say is like, well, okay, so only Gary's allowed to talk about it, or only Midnight's Edge is allowed to talk. Like, it's like, well, okay, these people don't have like meetings where they decide, hey,
I know.
Today?
That's my point. I'm saying everybody should. I'm just saying, if there's too many conversations about Secret Invasion when nobody gives a fuck about Secret Invasion.
Honestly, and the other thing is that it's. I mean, you can grift on the Marvel bad thing, and you can make a fair amount of scratch.
Critical Drinker,
but if you're making accurate criticisms, which you back up with references to the actual material. Yeah, like that's not gripping. That's being like, look how shitty Marvel is. I will show you. Here's the credit. Like, they're just being Plinkett. So you're like,
but don't you get tired of the same conversations?
That's what I was about to say. Is that I get tired
invasion coverage because I don't really care. But like, my point is, I'm saying that like the people who choose to do Secret Invasion coverage, they're probably not doing it because they love Marvel. Still.
I'm saying they're doing it because their fans, the people that watch their content, are normies who have like no hobbies, and the only things they like to do are they like Ghostbusters, they like Star Trek, they like Marvel, they like 5 things, and they don't like anything else. And I'm saying, I'm sick and tired. Wait, let me finish. I'm kind of tired of these people sort of hijacking the overall conversation about film, about entertainment, about movies, about television, about video games. I want more people interested in good stuff and talking about things that are happening that are worth talking about.
Especially,
I think we should gatekeep. Now, I'm not really leaning hard into this, but I think we should gatekeep our hobbies and push normies out of it, especially ones that are lying and saying that there's absolutely nothing worth watching in Hollywood. Hollywood hasn't made a good movie in 10 years. And that's all. There's hundreds of thousands of these people. And I think all they do is like they just sit in their basements all day and watch these streams.
I don't know. I would not be so quick to denigrate an audience, because I mean that, like, again, that's the fictional viewer of like a Midnight's Edge streamer, an erotic stream that like you intuit exists.
Oh no, there's a lot of smart people in these streams that are legitimately like into the hobby, but there's a lot of tourists. There's a lot of people who just hate shit just to hate it, and like they don't pay attention.
Okay, but the arguments are generally what works that out. So like, for example, a Mahler, like, I mean, granted, like a disclosure, Mahler, I know fairly well, and like I'm on his streams every now and then, but I don't think anyone can make any kind of solid argument that he's grifting by talking about Secret Invasion, because
I never said that.
Well, I know.
I did.
And I'm you think Mahler is grifting?
No, you said you were referring to who said the word grifter, and I said I'm the one who said the word. I didn't mention Mahler.
I said critical drinker, and you thought I said grifter.
Well, critical drinker has made videos on Oppenheimer. He's made video like watch.
I said Marc. I said I was watching critical drinkers. I said I was watching critical drinker stream. They were talking about Secret Invasion.
Yeah,
I don't think Drinker is a grifter. I think he's a one of the better YouTube, film entertainment, like
mean, yeah,
commentators.
Well,
I was not referring to anybody in particular outside of like maybe the quartering because I fucking hate that guy. But other than that,
I'll let Lofty defend Jeremy if he wants.
other than that, I'm not mentioning anybody else. Just the quartering.
Well, Jeremy,
although
Deadpool doesn't even consider himself part of this. Jeremy wouldn't even consider himself like a movie critic. He doesn't even.
He's clearly not.
Yeah.
Deadhouse though, I think maybe that's a better word for it. Honestly, maybe he said rage baiters.
I mean, what else do you? What else do you?
Bad.
What else would you? How would you? It's mental gymnastics a little bit to defend. To defend Velma, She-Hulk, Marvels, Secret Invasion, Quantumania. That's 99.9% of the conversation. Like, to me, that's actually fucking stupid.
Well, I haven't seen any of that.
But that's all anybody's fucking talking about.
It's not anybody, Lofty. It's specific people you're talking about. Like, you act like nobody talks about anything other than the most.
Yeah, I know. Jeremy John. I'm not talking about Jeremy Johns or Moist Critical or any of these other people. I'm talking about all of these like streaming communities.
I'm saying, like, I think. In fact, I know that you're wrong about most of them, and it's I
watch all of them, Mark.
But I mean, how many EFAPs are they really talking about? Like the latest Marvel thing, other than one that they do when it comes out, and then they have other episodes.
EFAP kind of just does all of it.
So does Critical Drinkers Show. Like Open Bar is kind of the same sort of deal. It's just set up more like FNT. It's kind of like it's a cross between EFAP and FNT. But
can you name it? Can you give an example of like something good that they've talked about recently that they like?
Freedom, Oppenheimer, Extraction 2, and all those are things that Critical Drinker has talked about recently, like within the last couple weeks. So I mean, like, going further back, Arcane. A lot of people who have been on my streams even have said they decided to give Arcane a shot because they saw Critical Drinker's video on it.
Right, but who's talking about Tetris? Who's talking about Knock at the Cabin? Who's talking about
Tetris? And Knock at the Cabin. I think there was Metal did Knock at the Cabin. I don't know if they did an EFAP on it, but I didn't see that, so I have no.
He and Marc did an Arcane stream a million years ago. I remember that now. We were playing League of Legends, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
All I'm saying is
Arcane is good.
It would be better for overall for everybody is if we stopped talking so much about all of these shows that we hate. Like literally.
Well, but
how is that not obvious?
But because
I agree.
Those are the ones that are being pumped out by the mainstream big budget companies who are making genre fiction, the kind of fiction that these guys care about the most. So until Disney decides, hey, we're not doing MCU anymore because we ran it into the ground and now it's done, they still have things to criticize. Otherwise, what happens is the only videos you look up about Marvel movies are people like Grace Randolph being like, Shang-Chi was probably the best martial arts film that's ever been made. And like those people need pushback, man. Like that's kind of like
Vex makes a good point. It's appealing to the masses a little bit, general public, because that's all they care about. It's kind of what I said earlier. There's a lot of normies that just kind of think that they're like, I don't know. Like, I actually care about entertainment. I actually care about movies. I actually care about television. And there's a lot of people that pretend to care about television and they don't.
It's an important art form. It is. It's important.
I'm not saying that's not happening. I'm saying that it would be silly to say that an entire sphere of YouTube needs to give up talking about the subjects that they are kind of most well versed at talking about. And I think though that the idea of them just constantly hating on all the mainstream things and that's it disregards every time something comes out that they really like, and they spend episodes and episodes talking about those things. And I think that the only way to really be making that argument honestly is to just pretend those don't happen. And
some of them are doing it more than others. Like you said, EFAP and Drinker are good examples. I love Friday Night Tights, but they don't quite talk too much they're very pop culture centered.
But
which is fine.
The whole point of FNT though is it's almost like clowning on the mainstream media.
Pop culture,
That is
mainstream.
the purpose of the show.
Yeah.
So I mean, honestly, for FNT, the more stupid shit companies like Marvel and Star Wars and stuff do, the better it is for their episode. That's why they have people like Chrissy on. Like Chrissy doesn't really know a bunch of stuff about nerd culture and things, but she's a stand-up comedian who's really quick and can make jokes about all the pop culture stuff. So like, you know,
yes, I understand that.
Like what is the show that you're talking about? But
I can't name names. I'm not going to name people's names on the stream.
Sorry,
I'm not going to name people's names. There's annoying people.
Like
there's annoying
names. Otherwise, it'll sound like I'm implying things about them and maybe saying things that I don't mean to imply. So I'd rather just speak transparently especially I'm talking about the show that my wife produces. You know?
Oh, I'm not talking about Friday Night Tights. I love Friday Night Tights. But my point about Friday Night Tights is they are the pop culture stream, you know, and Geeks and Gamers. But I feel like a lot of people are trying to be them, and they're like, hey, there's too many of them, you know. There's too many of them.
That always happens though. I mean, like there's probably like 6 YouTubers out there that you could reasonably say I'm trying to be, but like, you know, I mean, okay, then I guess I'll stop trying to do it. And like, I'm trying to be me. I'm trying to be the version of me that I am. I think that all these guys are pretty much in the same boat, just at different scales.
Yeah, but I've seen people talk about the industry and kind of echo that they want it to collapse. They think Hollywood should burn. There's nothing good going on. They think they have a grasp of the industry, and they don't. And they say things openly. I'm not naming names, but a big content creator just the other day said, if I didn't have to make movies about shitty Hollywood content, the only movie I would have watched in theaters last year was Top Gun. And I was like, nah, that's pretty
that's
pretty there. Yeah, that's like saying the quiet part out loud right there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no, it's flat out saying that, like, well, I mean, you know, there's like, I don't really like movies at all. Like,
that's what he's saying.
Well, I mean, I can say
he's speaking for everybody, which he shouldn't be speaking for everybody. He's acting, and there's people. There's not just one person, but there's people who are like just totally ignoring like good television, like people who don't watch Peaky Blinders or Midnight Mass or Arcane or Edge Runners or 1899 or Dark or Succession or Severance. I could go on and on and on. There's a lot of good.
I'm so glad you brought up Dark. That's a great show.
Look, what I just did there could fill months and months of content. But look, there's channels who say that Hollywood is just not doing anything, and like basically brainwashing their audience into thinking that this industry is only pumping out cape shit when it's not. Not. And those people annoy me because they're tourists. They're not actually part of the hobby. And if I had a big enough channel, I would probably try to gatekeep those people because I don't want them in this hobby. At the end of the day, I think it hurts the hobby more than it helps.
It's a toxic kind of tumor, really.
It is toxic. You can't say it because
I would say that most people, if someone is talking about something that's within their field of expertise and they're speaking way out of school and sounding definitive about it, most people will say, yeah, no, like you're very, very wrong about that. I mean, granted, I was just in the comment section, but on X-Ray Girl's Poor Choices stream I think actually it was about a week and a half ago, her co-host was going on about the bear sex scene in Baldur's Gate 3 and how it's like a game for degenerates that shouldn't be sold. And I'm just like, like it's an RPG where you have almost an unlimited amount of possible choices. It's only a degenerate game if you decide to fuck the bear man, okay? Fuck the bear man. It's your call.
Yeah, that's a choice.
Player choice. See here. Description.
I mean, I'm not.
Player choice means.
I should clarify though, just so people don't think I'm yelling at Tugs. I like Tugs. I've met her in person a bunch of times. Like, she's basically there on every trip we've ever gone on, at least like Geeks and Gamers or Nerdrotic related trip. But I know that she's not speaking from an informed opinion. She's giving her opinion based on a Twitter meme that was like a trend of like, oh, the bear sex game that was going around and making people think that Baldur's Gate is just a furry sex simulator. But it's like, well, ultimately, it's just I just know that she doesn't know, so that's what's frustrating because I'm just like, no, I gotta tell you what you're actually talking about here because you're yelling at that submarine for not being an airplane.
Yeah. And also, what this question is referring to in terms of at the moment, I guess what my thing is, and again, this is why I could not do anything remotely close to what you or Marc do on any kind of semi-regular basis, because most of that shit that you listed, Lofty, like 10 minutes ago or whatever, the Velma, blah, 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 all that stuff, I didn't see any of that. I have no idea what any of that stuff is. I was just like, I think I know what one of that is, but I didn't see it because I thought it looked like shit, so I didn't watch it. But some of you guys end up having to watch some of that shit to talk about it or whatever. I couldn't do that. I just couldn't. I'd fucking throw myself off of the tallest building in Lexington.
I honestly only went to Flash to keep X-Ray Girl company because we were both free that day. But
Andrew, I did a stream. I haven't seen everything, but I did a stream recently. I did a tier list of the last 4 years of everything that I've seen, and it was like probably 45% like mid to good, and then maybe like 55% like bad. That was kind of the vibe. But that means that all you have to take into account, I don't watch things that look terrible. So maybe, and I will watch almost anything that looks good. So maybe it's more like 30-70.
No.
I can't say. But there's a lot of good shit out there that people just don't really care about.
And also, here's the thing. Why does it have to be now?
Yeah.
Because the thing is, the art form has been around for so long. You could pick out a good movie that has super good reviews and everybody loves it, and you could pick one of those movies and watch it a week, and you still wouldn't have even scratched the surface like 50 years later. There's so much good stuff out there. So the obsession with the now also indicates short-term memory, where it's just like, oh, what's going on now? What's going on now? What about the now? What about the now? And it's like, there's so much good stuff out there for you to find. There's so much good stuff out there if you just explore a little bit. And maybe maybe we could do that.
Josh says that he's having a great year. Thank you for the super chat. He's having a great year while others are not. I am too for movies.
That's awesome. I love your profile picture.
Use my platform. Yeah, well, I'm not saying I'm trying to use my platform to like specifically have an agenda. I'm just saying because I don't know, people like take things too literally. I shit on Marvel and DC and all these movies, just as much as anybody else. I'm not saying that nobody should do that. Like, you have to have some nuance. Like, when you have these conversations, I am saying simply that it seems like the vast majority of discourse around Hollywood is encouraging like a normie perspective. And whether or not, like, I'm not saying any of these people are in and of themselves bad. I like Drinker. I like I don't think I dislike a single person that I've ever been on a stream with in terms of what they're doing in the community. I'm saying it's like a whole vibe thing. I just wish there was like more focus and like spotlights on some of this other shit. And it's hard to talk about, really.
What you want is balance, simply. Just balance it out. Balance the negative out with the positive.
Yeah,
talk about the stuff you're passionate about,
Look, Oppenheimer is kind of doing, and the discussion around it is kind of doing what I'm kind of talking about. I actually love. Some people don't like the Barbenheimer streams, but I think this is a good example of what I'm talking about. Like, good movies come out, we talk about them. There's some disagreements, but if you have to know the difference between all of these Barbenheimer streams that you've seen over the past 2 weeks, and between those conversations and the conversations around She-Hulk that were 100% all just shitting on it for like weeks and weeks and weeks at a time. I think the Barbenheimer streams are way more interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just I don't know.
And if you want to make their streams more interesting for the She-Hulk one, maybe do a little script doctoring, have some fun. Maybe be like, well, if I was in charge, here's what I would have done with the character.
EFAP
And then
does
you can have a discussion with it. That'd be fun.
Yeah. EFAP does that kind of stuff really in a very intense way, which I like. And to be fair to EFAP, they just straight up will cover almost anything, really. I think they did Puss in Boots. They like Puss in Boots. Like they're not
Puss in Boots. Woo.
Yeah. So I'm not saying just to repeat myself, I'm just talking about like the overall hobby, I think is being hijacked by a lot of normies. And it would help to have more conversations like Barbenheimer about Christopher Nolan, telling people that, look, Ari Aster just put a film out in theaters. Look at this movie. Talk to me. It's supposed to be a really good horror movie coming out. Maybe don't go see Insidious 5. You know, Jordan Peele. Like nobody talks about Jordan Peele. You know, and when I say nobody, maybe like a couple people, but like I want, you know, I don't know, man. I wish there was like a cinephile circle in this space, but it's kind of hard to find.
Most of the cinephiles are on Nebula. Like Thomas Flight has a podcast with like stories of old, and all their stuff is exclusively on Nebula. So there are cinephiles, but most of them are on a different fucking platform.
Yeah, look, I get Rings of Power, that backlash, like that whole months and months of discourse around it makes sense to me. Yeah. Miss Marvel and Secret Invasion, it doesn't really make any sense. Like if we just didn't talk about it, nobody would care.
Something of such mediocre and forgettable quality requires the following review. I will give you an example.
Wait, one second. River Miles, thank you for the $20.
That's a good movie. Yeah, Turbo Kid.
Oh, you told me that last time, buddy. I have it on my watch list. I'm on Letterboxd. I have that on there right next to. Oh shoot, what's that? Some other movie. But yeah, dude, I'm gonna watch it. I'm behind on some anime at the moment, but
that's such a fun movie. It's so quirky and weird and fun and gory and it's great. I have the 3-disc Blu-ray collector's edition of Turbo Kid. That's fucking awesome, River. I haven't thought about Turbo Kid in years.
It's got a cult following, apparently.
It has a really strong cult following. Yeah. Oh man, that's completely derailed me. Well, I was about to give a review of like Marvels or whatever. She-Hulk. I would have done the following. I just said, it wasn't very good. So anyway, and I just would have moved on because that's all the amount of brain space I should exert for something so mediocre.
Yeah,
I should just be like, it wasn't very good. Done. That's a review. Fuck you, She-Hulk or whatever.
Yeah.
And then just move on.
Or the problem is then you just leave people on here like organized chaos that just be like, actually, She-Hulk was one of the greatest films that was ever made. In fact, it was so good that they broke it up into episodes and put it on Disney Plus.
He gave another $20.
Miles. This guy really wants me to watch Turbo Kid.
I tell you what, let's do a Turbo Kid stream. Let's fucking do it.
Look, I'll watch it.
Seen that?
Is it on Amazon?
I'm jazzed.
Is it on Amazon?
Yeah, I think it might be. Yeah.
I have to finish Final Fantasy 16 because it's just ridiculous how I still haven't beat it. But River Miles.
Yes.
What is this? August?
In August. It's July. Oh, it's basically August. Yeah.
River Miles. I will watch it by the end of August, and if I don't, no, I will. I will watch it by the end of August. Yeah, I'm gonna watch it very soon.
I'll bully him for you, River. I'll insult him, be passive aggressive on Twitter. I'll do the whole 9 yards. We will do a Turbo Kid stream.
I will. I will mention. I'll talk about it on stream too. My thoughts.
Yes.
It's just thank you, buddy, for the support for the channel. I appreciate it.
That man loves Turbo
That's
Kid.
wild.
I love it. I love that kind of energy.
Where's my Turbo Man doll?
Dude, the trailer for Turbo Kid is one of my favorite trailers of all time. I love that trailer. It's so funny.
Man. What were you saying,
Oh.
Jackson? We got to wrap up. What were you about to say for something else?
Oh, no, I was just gonna say that, like, yeah, you just kind of say, yeah, it's not good, and then move on to something that's really positive that you love, because there's so much good stuff out there. I mean, there's so many good movies. Like, you will never be able to watch them all. You can barely. He gave you another massive super cat.
No!
Yeah. Woo!
Best supporter of this channel. Are you a member? I hope you're a member.
I mean,
I'll give you a membership for free.
He's a member. He's a member of the Turbo Kid conglomerate, and that's all he needs to be.
Oh, thanks for. He likes my meme videos too, dude. I gotta make more of those. I have some in the pike. I have like 3 I'm making at the moment.
Yeah. Speaking of good shit, more people should talk about Turbo Kid. Also, Kid Detective. That's another clutch pick I'm gonna choose for us to do a stream on at some point in the future. That's a great movie. So many good things out there. So much to watch.
Yeah, man. River Miles. If you like weird, sort of quirky sci-fi stuff, there's this. Well, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Brazil, which is sort of an older movie. It's the guy who directed The Fifth Element.
So good.
Brazil is really good. 12 Monkeys is pretty good. Another Terry Gilliam movie.
Mm-hmm.
There's this weird, what the fuck is that? Like 90s Denzel movie. Do you know what I'm talking about? Weird Virtuosity? Is that what it's called?
Oh, I don't remember.
Virtuosity.
The one with
Me too.
Denzel and Russell Crowe.
Yeah. A weird movie, man.
Yeah.
Brazil's fantastic. Yeah.
Virtuosity. But yeah, I'm sure Turbo Kid's going to be better than Ready Player One.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
I that's a low bar. I think it's going to clear that.
Brazil is great.
Yeah, Brazil's amazing. Yeah. Love Brazil. That was one of my first Criterion Blu-rays was Brazil.
Oh, wow. That's
one of the first ones I grabbed.
We got to wrap up.
Yeah.
It's 3 hours.
3 hours.
I'm going to go. Yeah, I'm going to go play some games. And then I just watched Kaizen or Kenshin last night. I'm loving Jujutsu Kaisen anime right now.
Yeah.
We got I might do. I'm not. I need to fucking read the manga because there's a big shit, like the manga enthusiasts are like really into like all of these, how the powers work and everything and how the curses work. I'm trying to figure it out as I go with the anime, but it's very, very, very complicated.
That's what I hear.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm loving the anime season so far.
I need to watch it.
And Monday, keep an eye out for interviewing some actor who was in The Office. We're going to talk about the actor strike. And Anime Matsuri's coming up. So anyway, thanks everybody for joining. Your guys' descriptions, oopsies, your link is in the description. But if you guys want to plug your channels quick before we go.
I put my channel in the chat a while ago.
Yeah. Or whatever thing you have coming up. I don't know. Jackson, do you have anything? Are you doing what's going on? Okay.
Pretty much next thing is Trigun, and then we'll talking about Attack on Titan, and then
Marc,
something else.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I thought you were muted. Sorry. I can't. So do you have anything coming up this weekend or?
No, this weekend, tomorrow, I don't think I have anything going on, though I might stream in the morning. The X-Ray Girl and I are going to a family function. Sunday, I will likely be streaming some Warhammer 40K games around noon-ish, maybe a little bit before. And on Tuesday, I will be talking to Lynn Jones about relationships and stuff. And
there you go, One-Eyed Crow.
Jim Jones?
There you go.
Lynn Jones.
Yeah. Nice. That's cool. Exciting. And yep. Well, thanks for joining everybody. And River Miles, you win I'm gonna send you a Ken doll in the mail.
Yeah.
And a naked one. Completely naked.
He's enough. Yeah, he's enough.
Make sure it's
enough, buddy.
correct.
I know, politically anatomically correct.
Anatomically correct.
Anatomically
Dude,
correct.
a nice big dick.
Yeah, massive, just bigger than the doll itself.
Yeah, massive
I think
dildo.
if Gosling wins Best Supporting Actor, I think they should hand him a Ken doll instead of an Oscar.
Oh, that'd be great.
That'd be funny.
so good. That'd be so good.
That'd be a hilarious, like, somebody should do it too. Like some funny actor should do it, like mess with him.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt comes up and just gives him a Ken doll.
Yeah, that'd be great.
In the middle of his speech, someone comes up, like, no, they hand him the Ken doll, but it's the Ken doll painted gold.
Yeah, like an Oscar.
And then he realizes it.
Yeah, so he might not notice, and then just have like, I don't know, like a real good cameo, like Billy Crystal come out, be like, yeah, Ryan, actually, they gave you the wrong one, buddy. This
Gives him a normal
Ken doll right here. Look, no dick, and then just walk off. That'd be funny.
Yes.
That'd be
Or Ricky fucking Gervais.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, Ricky.
I'd be like, oh no, what's going on? What's gonna happen here?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that'd be so funny. Anyway, thanks, chat, everybody. He doesn't want it. He doesn't want it.
I'm good. I'm good.
Anyway, thanks again, River
Make
Miles.
the dick bigger.
I'll see you next time. And Crow and Andrew and everybody else for joining, for talking about all this stuff. And yeah, anime movies. I haven't seen Riki-Oh, but I'm just watching Kaizen, Kenshin, and what the fuck is the other one? Hell's Paradise right now. So, no, it's done. It's done. Wait, is it done?
Yeah,
I think it's done.
I don't know if you're done watching it, but the first season is.
Yeah, I caught up. But have a good night, Agamemnon. And that's it. All right, boys. Bye, everybody. Ciao. Adios. Ciao.